Good morning, students. Welcome to this live virtual class for Paper-3B Goods and Services Tax. Today's topic is Supply under GST. I am CA Shefali Jain and I am a faculty for Indirect Tax Laws at Board of Studies. So I will be taking Supply under GST topic, whatever remaining concepts which have been left. And yesterday evening we had covered till Schedule 1. Now we had started Schedule 2 and first para or first entry, three clauses we had seen, but we'll be starting from Schedule 2 itself, from Schedule 2. And let me first see who all are there and any doubts or any uh, questions you have with you for today's session. So good morning, Lingaraju. Anubhav, okay, you didn't get DCA wala point. I have seen that. Okay. So DCA wala circular I will explain again today, but let me start with Schedule 2. Don't worry, DCA circular we'll cover. Good morning, Amara Selvi. Good morning, Mohan Raj. Good morning, Shamli. Good to see you all after one class which you already had a class in the morning, but I'm very happy that all of you have joined for this particular session in the afternoon or in the after that session, not yet afternoon, but good morning, Harsh, Medha, then Shraddha. Medha, you had asked me a doubt regarding taxes to be subsumed. If it is not yet clear, you can ask me after the class today. So,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
It is not clear yet.
Okay. So after the class, we'll deal with that. Okay.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Niharika, Prerna. So let us start with the concept quickly because I want to cover lot many concepts today. Be with me in the class and definitely, as I always say, you will enjoy, you will understand the concepts. And if time permit, we'll have the GST Titan quiz also. So let us start with Schedule 2, definition of supply. Video quality is quite low, Mohan Raj is telling. Is it so for others also or some technical issue at his end? Please confirm. Good morning, Nosheen. Shraddha, I think class will continue for 2.5 hours almost. Maybe till 1 or 1:30 class will go on. Previous year questions, Hina is asking for 1 or 2 chapters in single PDF. Hina, I will try to give you that. In fact, we will be having separate, after this whole session is convened, we might have some webinars for the questions also. So that is also one of the plan, but we have to see whether it happens. Okay, so can all of you quickly confirm in the chat box whether you are, my video quality is low. Okay, Lingaraju is finding it fine. Riddhi Ben is also saying the video quality is not fine. So give me 2 minutes. Let me once again confirm it. Okay, some people are finding it fine, some are finding it low. But are you not able to see the PPT properly? Because that is the most important point. If somebody is not able to view the PPT, then it will create a problem. Nausheen is finding it fine. Steffi also finding it fine. Okay, Aditya is saying low. How is it possible? 50% students are finding it low and others. Is it so those who have joined through phone, they are not able to find it? PPT is not clear. So I am on slide. PPT is not clear to you. Okay. Let me once again share the PPT. Okay, Shamli is saying fine. Let me once again share the PPT because most of you are finding it clear. But let me again once again share the PPT and then you let me know. Okay. Here है आप there can be internet issue also at your end. So let me once stop share and then how to stop share it. Can you do अशोक जी इसको आप एक बार stop share कर देंगे मैं दोबारा से share कर देती हूँ. I hope now it might be better. It might get better now. Which I think I have shared my folder. So I think I need to call my technical person. Give me 2 minutes. I will just start it again. So now somebody told that its PPT quality has improved for those. Mohan Raj is saying while sharing your screen, it's good, but now it's little blur. Maybe I have talked to our technical persons. They are saying maybe internet issue is there at your end, and that could be the reason. So, और तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता है. चलो, we'll start with the class, but if it persists, you can let me know, or otherwise you can rejoin, some of you, or you can change your location from where you are attending the class if possible, where better internet connection is there. Please try to join from there. So let's start with the concept. So in case of schedule 2, we have the activities or transactions which are classified either as goods or as services. This we have discussed yesterday, that the activities are supply per se. That has been decided, or that has been concluded with regard to these activities, that they are supply in the first place. That is fine. Now we have the law has given their classification, because there might be some confusion. ये जो सारी activities हैं उसमें somebody can have some confusion whether they are supply of goods or supply of services. So that is why this distinction has been given. So okay. So that is why we have been given this classification. Just a minute, students, please wait for one more minute. Let me try, because still students are finding, some students. Let us see if it has now improved, because we have tried something else now, and you all can let me know whether it is now clear. Okay. So I have got now go ahead from others also who were finding issues. Let me see. Okay, fine. So now we can start, because I was in a doubt that if some of you are not able to see the screen, how will they catch up with the topic? Now we'll start the topic with full swing. So now three of these entries we had discussed, or first entries, 3 clauses we had discussed yesterday evening itself. Let us once again quickly go through them. If you have transferred the title in the goods, any transfer of title in the goods, very simple entry, the basic sale transaction which we understand: sale of stationery, sale of toys, car, machinery, anything where we have transferred the ownership. I have sold the goods to another person, now that person is the owner of those goods. That is a simple supply of goods, and this is, you all understand, this is very obvious, so no problem, you will not have any problem in this particular transaction. Second is para 1b, that is transfer of right in goods or of undivided share in goods without transfer of title thereof. This also we had done yesterday. Kajal, you're not able to join through Zoom. Okay. It's okay. You can communicate through this portal also. That is not an issue. So if right in the goods has been transferred, then also that is in that case a supply of services, because ownership has not transferred. Title in the goods has not transferred. So if you have rented a car for 2 days and car has to be returned after 2 days, then it is okay. Harsh is finding it 4K now. So Nausheen is saying previous one was also good. But anyhow, now it is good for everyone. Then I am also good that you all are able to see the PPT now. So car has been rented for 2 days and you have to return it after 2 days. So ownership is not transferred. अगर आपने ownership किसी चीज की transfer कर दी है तो वो कभी भी आपको वापस नहीं मिलेगी. लेकिन अगर आपने ओनरशिप ट्रांसफर किए बगैर सिर्फ पोजेशन ट्रांसफर किया है गुड्स का, then it is renting of the goods or leasing of the goods. These are the examples of transfer of right in goods or of undivided share. Undivided share example yesterday we did that anything which is jointly owned by two persons, that is their undivided share in that particular goods. For example, machinery, crane, or um, any other example which you can think of, because some generally it will be a kind of a capital asset which would be there. A car is there which is jointly owned by two persons, and they can also transfer their right in the undivided share. Maybe they are transferring it to the other person. If A and B two persons are there, then A is transferring right to B, and now B can use that particular goods, or A and B have jointly given it to another person. So that is the transfer of right in goods of undivided share in goods without transfer of title. Now we come to schedule para 1, clause C. Clause C says that any transfer of title in the goods. Now in first clause, clause A, title was transferred, simple sale transaction. In clause B, title was not transferred, only goods were transferred. Right in goods was transferred. Right transfer करने का मतलब होता है अब goods मेरे possession में है, I can use them, I can use them in whatever way I want. Third है transfer of title in the goods is done only when any transfer of title in the goods in an agreement where stipulates that property, the ownership or the title of the goods will be transferred on a future date. So what is important is that the ownership is being transferred on a future date, and that future date is the date on which full consideration of the product or the goods has been paid. Now we had taken the example of installment payment, that I had taken the car has been given on the installment, and the 20 installments, in 20 installments the payment for car has to be made. So car was immediately given to the person. That means the possession of the car was immediately given to the person who has the recipient. But the title or the ownership will be transferred only after receipt of all the installment. This was the agreement. So this is actually what is covered in para 1C of schedule 2. Now this will be considered as supply of goods. अगर आपकी ओनरशिप आज ट्रांसफर नहीं हो रही बट एक फ्यूचर डेट में ट्रांसफर हो जाएगी तो भी आप उसको सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स ही मानोगे, और वो फ्यूचर डेट कौन सी डेट होगी, वेयर फुल कंसिडरेशन हैज बीन पेड. सो आई होप दिस इज आल्सो क्लियर. लेट अस मूव टू नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, schedule 2. Schedule 2 para 2A. Now we are taking the entry as para 2A says any lease, tenancy, easement, license to occupy land. Okay, now these words lease and tenancy, what do they mean? Then we'll see easement and license afterwards. So lease means you are renting out. In fact, earlier when we were doing 8 forms of supply, their lease was also there and rental was also there. So at that time we had discussed that lease and rental both actually mean renting out of the goods and renting out of, yes, goods or immovable property, whatever it is. But that can be for, in case of lease it is more formal, then it is for a longer period. That is what lease is. And renting is generally for a shorter period, and generally it's not renting. Lease is generally for commercial purposes. Renting is more informal and for a shorter period. Same is the case for lease and tenancy. Now tenancy is also the same thing, that you have rented out your land. Now here the difference is that this land, we are not talking about any goods. We are only talking about tenancy of land and leasing of land. So if you are giving your land on rent, then it is supply of services. वैसे भी अगर आप सोचो तो रेंटिंग ट्रांजैक्शन जो है, रेंटिंग को आप पर से एक आपको मतलब जो जनरल फीलिंग हमें रेंट ट्रांजैक्शन सुन के आती है वो हमें सर्विसेज की ही आती है. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट रेंटिंग ऑफ लैंड, जो आप if you are renting your home, but it is not, that is not covered here. You are only renting out your land, not building. Here only renting of land is covered. But I am generally talking, when you talk about renting, you generally get in the common parlance also, you feel कि हाँ ये सबको सेंस होगा कि हाँ रेंटिंग जो है वो एक सर्विस ही होगी. यहाँ पे 4 तरह की 4 types of transactions are being covered here. First is lease, second is tenancy, third is easement and license. So lease and tenancy are similar, but lease is more formal for a longer period, generally for commercial purposes, and tenancy is for informal and for a shorter period. Then we come to easement. And the purpose is to occupy the land. So in all these four cases, the person, the lessee or tenant will or licensee will occupy your land. He will occupy your land. Okay. So now what is tenancy and lease we have done. Now third one is easement. Easement का क्या मतलब होता है? Easement is that you have to use that land because to carry out some other purpose. For example, if you have to, there is a passage which is you have to cross the some fields are there. Now suppose I can take the example of a village where in order to go to some other place there are some fields on the way, and the people have to cross those fields to reach the other uh, opposite side. So they would be needing the right to use that path. Now in case that right has been given to you, this is a very simple example, though it does not seem to be very formal, but we will see when it can be a formal transaction also. So we want to get that right to use that path, so that will be an easement transaction. Easement to occupy the land, or easement for that land. If you have to conduct fishing, then that will be an easement transaction. Right to grazing, so your fields are there, your pastures are there, and you have given somebody to graze their cows and their animals there. That will be considered as easement. So this was the transaction for this was what easement means. Then comes the license. Now what is license? License means the permission to operate at a particular place. So if I talk about the license of land, first of all, any doubt in till now you have faced? For easement, you can say facilitating some other transaction. Kuldeep, I think you are asking about the previous one. So when does the taxability arise? Tax liability. Okay. So in this case, it is transfer of goods. Yes. Since it is transfer of goods, so when that title has transferred, then your tax liability will arise. Had it been services, then services are because in the previous clause it was services. So this will continue till the time you are using that particular product. Tenancy is for land. That means you have taken that land on rent. That is tenancy, Shraddha. Okay. Krishna, you are asking for what? What do you want to convey actually? I didn't get it. Okay. So let us see when I talk about the license, then you have to get a license to operate on a land. Suppose we have to conduct a fair on a land. It can be an agriculture fair, which we have to conduct on a land. So for that, we need a license from the authorities. We need an approval from the authorities. That is also covered under the supply of services. तो अगर आप किसी से लाइसेंस ले रहे हैं, आप किसी से लैंड रेंट पे ले रहे हैं, या लीज पे आप लैंड ले रहे हो, या फिर आप लैंड के ईजमेंट राइट्स ले रहे हो, आपको लैंड को यूज करना है किसी और ट्रांजेक्शन को कैरी आउट करने के लिए, दैट इज ओनली अ फैसिलिटेशन, और दैट इज व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड. इंसिडेंटल कह सकते हो आप कि अगर आपको उस तरफ जाना है तो यू नीड टू क्रॉस दैट पाथ, एंड दैट इज व्हाई यू हैव गॉट दैट राइट. दैट इज ईजमेंट. So easement के हमने simple 2-3 examples we have seen, and this is what easement is. So this is all covered in the supply of services. Okay. Okay. Krishna does not have any doubt. Okay. I thought you want to ask something. Mine license you got. Okay. For mining, you are saying, okay, if we want to have mining on a land, for that we can have a license. Yeah, that can also be an example, Anubhav. Correct. If in all these cases purpose of use matters, Purpose of use definitely matters. It is, Kuldeep, it is already a supply. So that means it must be for the business purpose. That is for sure. Difference between lease and tenancy is generally Shraddha, it is generally the period, it is generally the purpose. Purpose, I would say, it is lease is generally for the commercial purposes and tenancy, but they are more or less very related terms. Lease is for a longer period, tenancy is for a very short period and more of an informal structure. Will easement includes use of land for cultivation? No, no. Land for cultivation, if you are using, then that is actually a full-fledged purpose. So this is an incidental purpose for which you are using it. Okay. So let us go to the next point, and that is clause B of para 2, letting lease or letting out of for business or commercial purpose. Now, what we are actually leasing out? We are leasing out a building. In the previous clause, we had discussed about the land. Whatever leasing, tenancy, easement, license, what was there for the land? It was for the land. Now we are talking about the lease or letting out of the building. So in case you have rented your building or in case you have leased your building, letting out or leasing is same as renting and leasing. If you have rented out your building, maybe for a commercial purpose or industrial purpose or for residential purpose, or your residential complex is being rented out for a business, residential complex is being rented out for a commercial or business purpose. Out of the
Recording
building
in progress.
for business or commercial, for commerce, either wholly or partly, shall be considered as supply of services. ये भी simple transaction है, इसमें ऐसा कुछ बहुत complication नहीं है कि अगर आपने अपनी कोई building rent पे दी है, then that, or for commercial purpose, then that will be considered as service. No, Kuldeep. Then there it will not be in course or furtherance of business. So they are assuming, Kuldeep, that whatever transactions they have listed here, they are for business purposes. Consideration is already there, and they qualify as supply. Only categorization is relevant. Actually, क्या होता है जब हम schedule 2 पढ़ते हैं ना, तो ये बहुत common है कि Schedule 2, when we are studying Schedule 2, we assume that whatever is given, maybe it does not seem to be a supply, but it because of inclusion in Schedule 2, it becomes a supply. So that cannot be the case. Schedule 2 can only give you the classification, but it does not tell you that this particular transaction is supply because it is included in Schedule 2. That is not the case. So you cannot assume that something which is included in Schedule 2 will become supply because of inclusion in that schedule. No. Schedule 2 only gives the classification. Something should be already a supply first, and then it will be classified as per Schedule 2. And specific transactions have been provided to you because there could have been the case that the people find that they are confusing or there can be some doubt in their classification. That is why this has been provided to you. Otherwise, for every product, we have to refer to tariff. We have to refer to the for classification, we have to see the entries, the relevant entries of the tariff for their classification. Okay. Yes, Anubhav, ask your doubt. For renting of building, it will be taken as supply of services. Renting of building is supply of services, Deepika. For these examples, consideration is pre-assumed, Mohan Raj. Absolutely right. That whatever examples we are taking, we are assuming that they are supply per se. So consideration, if nothing is given, then they would be either consideration is there or they are included in Schedule 1, whatever is the case. But they are supply in the first case. So there can be they can be Schedule 1 transactions also, or they can be a normal supply also, qualifying satisfying all the three parameters of goods and services, consideration and business. But they are supply per se. Now we are just classifying that these are supply of services or supply of goods. Yes, Anubhav. Schedule 2 is only for classification of goods or services and not necessarily a supply. That means what I want to say is that they should be supply first. Let me take an example, Anubhav, what I want to say actually. Suppose Suppose this is the transaction which we are, the slide which we are on, that we have rented out a building. Now, renting of a building is a supply because we are doing it in business in course of furtherance of business. Suppose consideration is not being charged here. Okay, we have a transaction. I have let it out. A has let out his property or building to B. Now, A is a owner of the property or owner of a building. But B has not paid any consideration. Now, if you remember Schedule 1 does not have any transaction relating to this. And A and B are not related. They are non-related persons. Okay. So any transaction which covers in Schedule 1, there is no such transaction which says that you can do letting of your building or you can rent out your building without consideration and still it will be a supply. No, we do not have any such provision. So that means this is not a supply per se. This is not a supply. So we cannot say that A has rented out building to B without consideration since it is there in Schedule 2 clause para 2B. So it becomes a supply of service. No, it has to first of all satisfy all the provisions of supply. It has to first become a supply. Then we will go to, we can refer that whether it is listed in Schedule 2 transactions and we have to see its classification. So Schedule 2 सिर्फ classification के लिए है. मतलब वी कैनॉट एज्यूम कि यहाँ पर कोई भी एलिमेंट प्रेजेंट है या नहीं है, वील स्ट्रेट अवे टेक इट टू बी सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विसेज. नो, those basic elements of basic parameters of supply have to be first present. So I hope that clears your doubt. Yes, it is only for a classification. It is only a classification para. So this just classifies that this type of a transaction will be supply, but consideration should be there. Business test should also be satisfied. If consideration is not there, then it should be covered in exception. If business is not there, then it should be covered in exception. So anyhow, it should be first of all a supply, and then we will go to Schedule 2. So I hope that clears all of you, that clears your doubt. Schedule 1, Medha, were you there in yesterday's class? Please let me know quickly. Anil is saying, ma'am, one supply which is covered in Schedule 1 has no entry. One supply which is covered in Schedule 1 has no entry for Schedule 2. Once a supply is covered in Schedule 1, then Schedule 2 can only tell its classification, but Schedule 2 cannot say that this has become a supply because of inclusion in Schedule 2. I think, Gulti, this is what you wanted to ask, or if you wanted to ask something else, please once again mention your query. Next is job work transaction. Next entry says any treatment or process which is applied to another person's goods. आपने किसी और के गुड्स लेके उसके ऊपर कुछ काम कर दिया है, you have done some treatment or some undertaken some process on those goods, that is also a supply of service. वो आपने उसके गुड्स खरीदे नहीं, आपने उसके गुड्स आपके ओनर नहीं बन गए आप उनके, you have just conducted some process, you have just undertaken some treatment on those goods and then you have returned them. It is actually termed as job work. You have taken a car, principal has given. Now this is job work is in a job work transaction. There is a principal and there is a job worker. Now principal is the person to whom the goods belong to and he gives those goods to the job worker for undertaking some treatment or undertaking some process. And after that undertaking that process, job worker has to return those goods, inputs or capital goods. It can be both type of goods. He has to return those goods to the principal once again. This is the job work transaction. So this type of transaction is supply of services. I will answer your query. Okay, this point I hope is clear. For example, the first example is that you have got a car. Principal has given a car to job worker to paint that car. Now he has to paint it. And after painting, he has to return it. Now this is a job work transaction. And this will be considered as supply. So job worker is only a supply of service. Job worker is only providing a service to principal and that service is painting of car. Ye job work transaction and this is supply of service. Let us see one more example. You have a chassis of car on which the body is being embedded. So this is being done by the job worker, but he is not owning that car. He is not owning that car. कार का ओनर वो नहीं है. Any more examples of the job work which you can think of? You have got a textile, you have got a cloth from the principal and you have to dye, you have to color it. you have got the cloth from the textile manufacturers. He want it in different colors, so he has given you big cloth uh, pieces, and you have to color it, you have to dye those pieces, and you have to return it. So that is also a job work transaction. So different type of examples of job work transactions can be there, but the ultimate point here is that the job work transaction is supply of services. In fact, जब आप उसको value भी करते हो, तो आप goods की value को उसमें include नहीं करते हो. Once a supply is covered in Schedule 1, Gulti is saying that it has no chance to enter in Schedule 2. Gulti, this is not actually the point I wanted to convey. I wanted to say that even if a transaction is a supply because of Schedule 1 or because of normal supply provisions, once a transaction is supply, then we have to see whether it is supply of goods or supply of services. For that, we have to see Schedule 2. Schedule 2 has specified activities. It is not classifying all the transactions which are possible. No, it's such a small schedule. It is only classifying few transactions, few activities as supply of goods or supply of services, because there can it was felt, a need was felt that yes, these transactions we have to explicitly provide to the taxpayers that this is supply of goods and this is supply of services. For example, job work transaction, job work is supply of services. So many doubts. What happened if a manufacturing company starts its product for some machining activity outside on consideration? Send his product for some machining activity, yes, and it is being sent to a person, and then that person returns the machinery afterwards, return the product afterwards, then that will be covered in the job work. Good example, Kuldeep. Modifications on vehicles, will repair come under job work? Generally, maybe if you have given it outside, if you have given that repair on the outside, but generally it is considered as repairs only. Some kind of treatment or process has to be undertaken to enhance that product. Generally, it is of that nature. So repair is actually not that. It is only making the product into the right shape. So Deepika is saying from raw material to finished products of any item can we consider service? No, Deepika. If you are converting your raw material into finished product, then that will be manufacture, and when you will be supplying that finished goods, that will be supply of services. So you want to ask that from the time I have taken the raw material and I am undertaking the manufacturing process, so that manufacturing process is a service. No, manufacture, because you are not supplying these services to anyone else. You are doing it on your own account. You are manufacturing the goods, and then whatever final product has come, you will be selling that product. So then again, it will be supply of goods. So there you cannot say service is there, because you are doing it for your own. Modifications, okay, modifications, you are saying modifications on vehicles, it depends that what type of if you are coloring it, if you are doing it on a contract basis that I have given you my vehicle in this shape, you have to do some modifications, you have to do some coloring, or you have to add steel cabinets to it, you have to add some metal frames to it. So that will be considered as job work. Can a lease contract be without consideration? Because as per Section 25 of the Indian Contract Act, consideration is base for formation of a contract. Without consideration, there will be no contract as per the provisions. That is true, Mohan Raj. And if you see lease contract is nowhere covered in Schedule 1 per se, unless it is between the related persons. But if any transaction is there in the the consideration is there for the Contract Act. So you are always with the Contract Act is always going along with your GST studies also, I can identify. But if contract is there, lease, even if there is no formal contract, supply can be there, but it is more formal. I told you that lease generally, then it will go for, you can categorize it as renting also. But it is for sure that this will be considered without consideration. If it is between related persons, then that will be considered as supply. Otherwise, it will not be a supply and it will not fall in schedule. There will be no question of Schedule 2 per se. Schedule 2 is about supply without consideration, but Schedule 1 is about supply without consideration. Schedule 2 is about classification of goods and services. Very good, Mohan Raj. Now you have got the exact point. Oh, Medha, you are not fine. You have been hospitalized and you are having typhoid. Oh, very sad to know that. Okay. No, Medha, you attend the classes in recorded form, and please don't strain yourself at this point of time. You require rest. So schedule 2 is the actually schedule 2 covers the transactions where there is no consideration. So I am not sure from which till what point you have actually been there in the class, but if you were not there in yesterday's class, then let me tell you, schedule 1 covers the activities or transactions where the supply where the transaction activity or transaction was considered as supply even if there is no consideration, but it should be in course or furtherance of business. And moreover, there were four paragraphs or four entries were there which have specified transactions to be covered in schedule 1, or which have specified transactions to be deemed as supply even if there is no consideration. Yes, Medha, that entry which you have mentioned regarding IT services, it is a supply of services, but I will not take it because I'm just about to take it now. As I told you, maintenance. Yes, if you have outsourced it, then you can call it as job work. Jewelry making, jewelry making is a very good example of job work. That we have given the our gold or silver to the workers, and they are making designs out of it. So that is a very, very good example of job work. Good, Shraddha. Principal provides material and design pattern related. Yes, principal has provided the pattern that you have to do it this way. You have to make these designs, and the workers or the job workers, I would say, they are making the design. So this is, and that person, that is a separate person. So if I have employed few persons in my own factory or my own unit, then that will not be a job worker. You have, because another person's goods, they should be another person's goods, no? So if I have given it to some outsider, then that will be considered as job work. So this example was actually a very good example. Para 3. No, Noshi, this will not be covered. Anubhav, now you understood this point. Prerna is saying, yes, tailoring can also be an example. You have given your cloth to a tailor and he has made a very beautiful shirt out of it. So that will also be an example of job work. Good example. There might be a chance of additional services, which is, yes, that is for sure, Anil, that there would be so many goods and services which are not there in Schedule 2, but still you can refer the tariff for their classification. Painting of houses. Painting of houses, name, because you painting of houses will not get covered, Kavijit. Let me tell you why. Another person's goods, okay, and house is an immovable property. So you have to give that person, you have to send, actually generally the normal transaction or normally the practice is that you give your goods to the job work, you send those goods to the job work's premises, he undertake that process and he send those goods back. So house is not a goods. That is why painting of houses is not a job work transaction. It is a supply, but it's not a job work transaction. Your own house is there. You are getting some people and they will be painting painting your house. So whatever consideration you will be paying them, that will be a simple supply transaction. But yes, that will also be a supply of services, but not covered in para 3. Okay, Medha. So wish you quick recovery, Medha, and get well soon. And you can see the recorded lectures. And in fact, after the later classes also, if you have any doubt, you can ask us. You can ask your doubt at IDT-Inter also, Medha. So that is not an issue. You can ask us. Look into tariff means tariff. I told you that for classification, we have a schedule, we have proper list of goods where the goods are mentioned, their rates are mentioned. So when a specific good has been mentioned, a detailed description of that particular goods or services is mentioned so that we can get clear that where our product falls actually. Because in case of goods, particularly, there can be a confusion. For example, ice creams, whether they are ice creams or they are frozen desserts, where will that particular product fall? So for that, we have to see tariff. We have to look into tariff, that where my product will be classified. And for that, we have to generally see tariff and if it is not in Schedule 2. End of the day, GST Council classified each and everything into goods and services to put them under the purview of GST. Okay, that is a different thing. No, you do not have tariff in the intermediate as well as in the final. Okay. Renovation, no. Renovation is separately covered. I'm saying this is not covered in para 3. ये सब job work में नहीं आएगा. Job work is very simple. You send the goods to job worker for some process, for some treatment, and then you are getting back your goods. Let me see if any other queries are there, because the transactions which you are telling, it is separately covered actually. Carpentry, Carpentry will also not be covered. You are saying you send your good and the product is made. No, it is separate transaction. It is not a simple treatment or process which is being undertaken. I think it will not be covered here. Mobile sent to service center. Again, you are not undertaking any treatment or process on that mobile. Repair is not a treatment or not a process which is being undertaken on a particular good. If a manufacturing company, generally, Kuldeep, the job worker and principal transactions work like this only. Job worker have their own specified premises. Goods are sent to their premises. They undertake the process on the goods because they do not work for a particular principle. They generally work for different principles. So generally the goods are sent to their premises. They treat them. They undertake that process and they send them back. So if any such thing is there which cannot be moved, then that will not be covered in this particular entry per se. Kabbijit got that point. Gulti, would you please answer? I didn't. Anil, regarding that schedule 1 and schedule 2. Actually, I didn't get your point, Anil, which query you are asking. You have asked me that there may be a chance of additional services which are not covered in schedule 1 and schedule 2. This point is right. I told you that schedule 1 is the only tells you about the transactions which have been deemed as supply. So there will be lot many transactions which have not been deemed as supply. Regarding schedule 2, classification is there. So for specified services, specified goods, classification has been provided. But there will be many other transactions regarding which the classification has not been provided. So Praveen Kumar is asking erection and fabrication. No, erection and fabrication will not be covered here because you are not sending the goods back to the principal. Once the goods are erected and fabricated at a particular place, they will become. This is an incidental service which generally manufacturers provide. Contractor and subcontractor for job worker in contractor premises. No, actually, see, job worker is very simple transaction. You are sending the goods to a job worker for undertaking a treatment. This repair or erection, commissioning, that will not be included. Give someone to audit our transactions. It is not a treatment or it's not a process which you are undertaking, Mustafa. So this will not be covered. Mohan Raj, I think you are confused about job work. I have given few examples to you. One example was that you have sent your cloth to a tailor. He has stitched cloths out of it. That is a job work. That means generally what happens when you are why job work is required. When you are manufacturing some goods or you are undertaking a manufacturing activity, certain processes you don't want to undertake on your own. So small processes you have to undertake on your product. So that you outsource, you can say, that you give to job worker. So you give your goods to the job worker, and those goods are that process is undertaken by the job worker on those goods and returned back to you. So for example, you are a car manufacturer, but for the purpose of coloring of the car, painting of the car, you send it outside to job worker. Those cars are painted by him, and then it is returned to you. You have taken the you are a, you want to get your cloths colored or dyed. So in order to dye your clothes, you have sent them to the job worker. He has returned them back to you. Okay. So this is a job work transaction. But if you are actually, first of all, it should not be undertaken on any immovable property. If you are erectioning or you are setting up your product which you have manufactured at the buyer's premises, or you have hired a third party also for doing that, that is not a job work because you're not sending the goods back. It's a simple process or treatment which is undertaken. I will give you more examples for job work. Give me some time, let me complete other portion. We'll have more discussion about job work, don't worry. Mohan Raj, you can say that sometimes for finishing purpose we want to send it to the job worker. Like Mustafa is saying, movie producer making a movie and giving it to theater to premiere the movie. So that is not a job work because he's not undertaking any process on your movie and he's not returning that movie to you. So that will not be considered as job work. Regarding sale of gold along with job work, both are separate transactions. They are both separate transactions, Anil. You have taken gold, you have given them to the job worker to make it into a design you can, if you are doing it in your own premises, that is not a job work. But if you have given it to someone else for making gold jewelry, designs of the gold jewelry, or maybe you have given for some fine work which has to be done, some stones have to be uh, added, studded in your jewelry, and for those stones, adding those stones to the jewelry, you have given it to someone else. He does that work and then he returns it back. That can be an example of job work, but they are separate transactions. So when you sell that gold jewelry to someone else, to buyer, that will be a separate transaction, and job work transaction will be a separate transaction. So I think we can move forward now. Okay, thank you Lingraju, you give me a go ahead. ओके अनुभव का तो कंफ्यूजन बढ़ रहा है देखो ज्यादा एग्जांपल से, तो इसलिए मैं आपको बोल रही हूँ मोर एग्जांपल्स आई विल गिव यू आफ्टरवर्ड्स, बट लेट अस मूव फॉरवर्ड. हाँ, if Mustafa they are giving it for, it can be an example, but particularly it will not fall in this clause because that is not a goods per se. Nidhi Ben has given an example of editor editing the movie. So it is actually not a, first of all, it has to be a goods. On some goods should be there, some tangible product should be there, on some process is being undertaken. Hmm. This one example which all of you are giving about movie, movie given for editing, movie given for some VFX or graphics, that I will let you know. I also have to confirm it. Okay. Okay. Yes. Other doubts I will clear regarding job work because we can have an extensive session on job work. Don't worry. I will tell you. So let's move to para 4A now. No, Medha, providing banquet for wedding cannot be a job work, cannot be a job work at all. Job work, I think, has become more complicated now. So let us keep it for the end. Don't worry, that doubt I will definitely clear in this class. What is job work? So I had not even imagined that job work can become such a big problem or confusion wala point for all of you. But for the timing, just get the job work out of your mind. Just have this concept, job work is supply of services. At the end of the session, we'll discuss what is job work in detail. Don't worry. Now let us see the other next para 4A because schedule 2 schedule 3 कर लें सब ये आपका composite और mix supply कर लेते हैं, उसके बाद आप आराम से job work discuss करना मुझसे. Para 4A says when goods forming part of the assets of the business assets जो हैं, जो आपके goods business assets का part है, they are transferred or disposed of. So अभी schedule 1 सब पहले भूल जाना वरना सब schedule 1 में घुस जाएंगे इसको पढ़ के. अभी आप ये सोचो ये आपको सिर्फ classification बता रहा है. So when goods forming part of assets of business are transferred or disposed of by or under the direction of a person carrying on the business, that means the person who is carrying on the business, the owner of the business, so as no longer to form part of those assets, such transfer or disposal is supply of goods by the person. Okay. So if you have transferred, if you have disposed of your business assets because they are no longer required in your business. Yesterday we had discussed machinery has become redundant and we have disposed it off, we have scrapped it off. So that is an example that will be considered as supply of goods. Okay. Let us see an example, some examples of assets disposal. Mustafa's example is good, but Mustafa, I will not tell it to everyone. I will discuss it afterwards. Otherwise, they will again go into job work. But your example is fine. So let us see. So selling old machinery. Now you have, selling means just transferring or disposing. You have disposed old machinery or old car or expired medicines you have sold or old goods you have disposed of. You have scrapped off your old furniture. You have auctioned your assets which are lying but you no longer require them. You have written off the damaged stock or you have transferred the assets to the outgoing partner. These are some of the examples where you will say it is supply of goods. पहले तो आप ये सोचो कि अगर ये ऐसी ट्रांजेक्शन आपको जनरली भी पता चलती तो आप उसको शायद सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स ही मानते. Just because it is there in this para, don't feel that it is something very difficult which they are going to tell you or they are trying to tell you. आप उसको simple समझो. There are some business assets which are there in your business and you have transferred or disposed of them because you do not require them. मशीनरी आपकी पुरानी हो गई है, आपका स्टॉक ऑब्सोलीट हो गया है, या आपके कोई आपको कुछ आउटगोइंग पार्टनर को कुछ, बिकॉज दे आर नो लॉन्गर पार्ट ऑफ दोज एसेट्स. अब आपको उसको उससे मतलब that is no longer form part of the assets. मतलब जो आपके total assets हैं उससे अब वो वहां से बाहर आ जाएंगे. You have written off some goods, some business assets. That will be considered as supply of goods. Had it been a normal transaction, I think you all would have considered as supply of goods only. This transfer or disposal is supply of goods. Whatever goods you have transferred, whatever business assets you have disposed of, they will be considered as supply of goods. I think this is simple. This is not complicated. 4B thoda sa hame dekhna hai abhi. We have to see 4B, what it actually says. Because that is supply of services. There also the goods are involved, but it is a supply of service. Let us see what schedule 4 para 4B says. Some doubts have already come up, but let me take them and then we'll come to para 4B. If it is not legal, then they would not be selling them actually. They would be disposing. They just have disposed them. That means they have scrapped them, you can say. The example which you have given, Anil. Anubhav is saying concept बहुत simple है, but students are very innovative. So that also I accept. My students are very, very innovative. So they go into very in-depth and जॉब वर्क में उन्होंने इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी और सब कुछ सोच लिया तो ठीक है मतलब बट आई अप्रिशिएट दैट यू शुड एटलीस्ट अप्लाई योर माइंड व्हेन यू आर स्टडिंग तो दैट एप्लीकेशन ऑफ माइंड एक्चुअली गिव्स यू द करेक्ट कॉन्सेप्ट तो आई ऑल yes Aditya so they're of no use but still that will be considered as supply of goods but that should because yesterday also we had seen that when the transfer or disposal, permanent transfer or disposal of business assets, I'm just giving you an example of Schedule 1 Aditya, but I don't want others to get confused from it. Permanent transfer or disposal of business assets in case ITC has been taken is considered as supply. So then also it will be considered as supply. Maybe somewhere else it would have been exempted or some kind of relaxation could be there, but right now supply to hai. ठीक है. Second is where by or under the direction of a person carrying on a business. Again, it is on the direction of the person carrying on the business. Goods held or used for the purpose of business. यानी आपके business में जो goods use हो रहे थे, they are put to any private use. Or they are used or made available to any person for use for any purpose other than business purpose. So सिंपल ट्रांजेक्शन है जो गुड्स आपने बिजनेस पर्पस के लिए यूज कर रहे थे आप लोग उनको नॉन बिजनेस पर्पस के लिए यूज कर रहे हो आप उनको प्राइवेट पर्पस के लिए यूज कर रहे हो दे आर पुट टू एनी प्राइवेट यूज और दे आर मेड अवेलेबल टू एनी पर्सन फॉर यूज फॉर एनी पर्पस अदर देन बिजनेस पर्पस आपने अब इसमें एक चीज आप देखो वी आर यूजिंग द वर्ड यूज you have given those goods for use for private purpose or you have given those goods to any person for use for the purpose of business that means it is not permanent आपने सिर्फ यूज करने के लिए दिया आपने बोला ठीक है इसको यूज कर लो उसका एग्जांपल देखेंगे तो इट विल बी मोर क्लियर टू यू देन दैट यूसेज or that making available of such goods is called the supply of services वो supply of services है वो आपका गुड्स नहीं है क्योंकि आपने गुड्स एज सच पूरा ओनरशिप नहीं ट्रांसफर किया आपने बोला गुड्स हमने अवेलेबल करा दिए थोड़े टाइम के जैसे कि आप इफ यू हैव अ बिजनेस office furniture is there now some your table chair something you require at home you take it at home so that chair which you have taken at home that will be considered as supply of service. Another example, so this is a person manufacturing and selling wooden furniture, and this is not the office furniture per se. This is the part of he is selling the furniture. He is manufacturing and selling furniture, and he has taken that furniture to home for some use at his home. Then that will be considered as supply of service. Clear to you all? LED lights. Now you are selling LED lights at your shop during Diwali time, and some of the lights you have taken at home and you have used it for decorating your house. So this is personal use of your stock. Taking company laptop for your kids' schoolwork. Now you have a laptop at an office and you have taken it home for using for your kids' homework. That is also a business asset which are using for the personal purpose. So that will be considered as supply of service. Yes, Mustafa, that was the example which I gave, and you had already given that example of the laptop. Giving the laptop to your friend for study purpose, that is also an example. So this is the example which we had also discussed here. That will be considered as supply of service. लेकिन अगर आप अपने business assets को dispose of कर रहे हो, then that will be considered as supply of goods. तो यहाँ पे business assets का transfer या disposal की बात हो रही है. First clause A, I think clause A and B are clear to you now. Can we move to clause C now? Yes, Kabbijit. That is what I am telling you, that wherever, if wherever the transaction is a supply, then only this classification will come. So if a particular transaction is not a supply, now after finding out, after analyzing the transaction, you come to a conclusion that this is not a supply per se, then you will not come to schedule 2. That is very, very simple. So you have understood it right, that classifying, then in that case, classifying it as supply of goods, that will be irrelevant because it is not a supply per se. So why will you classify it? नहीं, अनुभव 4 भी नया अमेंडमेंट तो नहीं है. जुलाई 24 एडिशन में नहीं दिख रहा आपको, ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? Let me check it, but it is there in July 24 edition also. I will check it because someday maybe it is mentioned in some other, maybe the same form is not there, but it is there in the book. Don't worry, it has not been deleted. ऐश्वर्या ने बहुत सही तरीके से बोला, ये ड्राइंग है एक तरीके की एक्चुअली में, अ वे ऑफ ड्राइंग. अगर आप इफ यू आर यूजिंग इट फॉर प्राइवेट पर्पस देन इट विल बिकम अ ड्राइंग. तो जो ड्राइंग है हमारा, वो भी यहाँ पर सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस बनेगा. अगर आपने कोई भी गुड्स घर लेकर उनको यूज करना शुरू कर दिया, बट यहाँ पर आपको यूज करके वापस आप बिजनेस में यूज करना शुरू कर दोगे, इतना डिफरेंस है. तो थोड़ा नेचर वो ड्राइंग वाला इसका है. देन वील कम टू क्लॉज सी. ओके, नौशीन हैज कंफर्म जुलाई 24 में दिख रहा है ये क्लॉज. तो एक्चुअली यू हैव स्केयर्ड मी अनुभव कि ये जुलाई 24 में कैसे डिलीट हो सकता है. इट इज देयर, सो यू आल्सो चेक इट अगेन. Okay, so page number I will tell you afterwards. I have to check my study material to tell you that, but I think Nausheen can tell you the page number, so you'll get that. Okay. Now, where any person ceases to be a taxable person. अब clause C क्या कहता है? अगर आप अब taxable person नहीं हो, taxable person कौन होता है? Who is registered or who is liable to be registered, that is a taxable person. Now you are no more a taxable person. You are no more liable to be registered, or you have closed your business. You are not registered. You have cancelled your registration, whatever it is. आपने अब business अपना बंद कर दिया. Any goods forming part of the assets of any business carried on by that person shall be deemed to be goods supplied by him in the course of furtherance of business. यानी ऐसा नहीं है कि आज आपने सोचा चलो बिजनेस बंद करो और घर चलते हैं, अब जीएसटी डिपार्टमेंट से क्या लेना देना. So you cannot do that. Immediately before the person ceases to be a taxable person, whatever goods are, whatever assets are there in the business, they will be considered to be, they will be deemed to be supplied by him, and that will be considered as supply of goods. So you got relief with this, that this is there definitely. 2.49 is the page number, Anubhav, for the clause. Okay. So, okay, so many students are telling the page number. Good, you all are referring study material. I'm very happy to see that. Julie is telling, Prem Kumar is telling that, Praveen Kumar, sorry, is telling the page number, and Nausheen has also told this. Very good. So this, whatever assets a person is holding when he ceases to be a taxable person, they will be considered to be supplied by him in course or furtherance of business, and those assets that supply will be supply of goods. Now, example I have taken, Mr. Arun Kumar. He's a trader and he's winding up his business. Now, any goods left in the stock shall be considered to be or deemed to be supplied by him. हम ये मान लेंगे कि आपने वो सप्लाई किया है, that is supply of goods. There are two exceptions. अब आप इस एंट्री को देखोगे तो थोड़ा थोड़ा ही आपको लगेगा कि जैसे ये सप्लाई भी बताने की कोशिश कर रहा है. That is there. Now, this is how law has been framed. So it has two exceptions. That हमने बोला कि जैसे ही आप अपना बिजनेस बंद करोगे, whatever business assets you have, वो सब we'll consider to be those business assets. We'll assume that you have supplied those business assets. ठीक है? There are two exceptions to it where we will not assume that you have supplied those business assets. First exception is that you are transferring that business. You have not actually, you have ceased to be a taxable person, but reason is that you have transferred your business to another person and that business is transferred as a going concern. So that person is also going to continue that business, taking it from you. Or business, now you are not a taxable person. You have, or matlab the person who was carrying on the business, now he is not a taxable person. Why? Because he is not there, or he has given the business to his personal representative. He is carrying on his business. Now he shall be deemed to be a taxable person. He will be the new taxable person for that particular business. In that case, we will not assume कि business बंद हुआ, क्योंकि business एक तरह से बंद भी नहीं हुआ है. That is being carried out by some other person. Example, first example जो हमने बहुत simple example पहले अरुण का लिया कि अरुण is a trader and Arun has closed his business, wound up his business, and then whatever stock is left that will be deemed to be supplied by him. Another example, एक garment shop है Rahul ki, he has closed that shop and he has deregistered himself from GST. He has cancelled his registration. Now what is deregistration? This is a simple word actually. He got his registration cancelled. So his remaining stock of cloths will be treated as sold, or if I say not sold, would be deemed as supplied by him. GST की term तो supply है. So that is what is there. GST उस पे pay होगा नहीं होगा मैंने यहाँ लिखा है, लेकिन that we will see afterwards. So this was the normal point. Okay, now we come to the exception. फर्स्ट क्लॉज 4C यही बोलता है कि अगर आपने बिजनेस बंद कर दिया तो जितने एसेट्स आपके पास है सब हम एज्यूम कर लेंगे आपने सप्लाई कर दिए हैं. दो केसेस में हम ऐसा एज्यूम नहीं करेंगे. पहला केस है अ फर्म इज सोल्ड एज इट इज टू अनदर बिजनेस, ऑल एसेट्स, लाइबिलिटीज, नेम एटसेट्रा एज अ गोइंग कंसर्न. So firm A has sold it to business B on a going concern basis. It will be carried out on a going concern basis and therefore it will not be considered, जो भी उसके पास business assets थे, we will not assume them to be supplied. Next example is a businessman dies and his wife continues running the business and becomes a taxpayer. So this will also not be included in para 4C. ये भी para 4C में include नहीं होगा. So I hope this is clear to you all now. Okay. Anubhav is thanking all his friends for telling him the page number. And he is saying like Twitter is sold to X. Yeah, you can say that, but हाँ, to Twitter के जितने भी सब ये, but it is not in India per se. तो वो वहां पे वैसे एग्जाम्पल नहीं लगेगा. But हाँ, to understand that it is fine. अब आता है रेंटिंग ऑफ इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी. इनफैक्ट अभी हम बहुत देर से रेंटिंग, टेनेंसी, लीज इन सब की बात कर रहे थे, बट हम गुड्स की बात कर रहे थे. इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी की बात हमने अभी तक नहीं की थी. So para 5A tells us that renting of immovable property is also a supply of service. अगर आप अपनी immovable property को rent पे दे रहे हो तो that is a supply of service. Simple examples हैं, आपका कोई commercial complex है, आपने उसको rent पे दे दिया. You have some religious place, premises which you can give for some, you have given them to somebody to set up the shops there or some temporary shops, or you have some maybe you have made some shops in a complex, in a religious presence, and that you have given for setting up the shops relating to the religious some selling the religious products only, puja related products. Then you have given some building to an educational institution. Any kind of renting of immovable property, that will be considered as supply of services. If you have rented out your house, दैट इज अ सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस. वैसे ये बहुत सिंपल है. रेंटिंग हमें हमेशा समझ आता है कि जब हम कोई चीज परमानेंटली दे ही नहीं रहे हैं तो वो जनरली सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विसेज नहीं होता, बट दैट हैज बीन क्लैरिफाइड हियर. तो ये थोड़ा इजी लगता है समझने में भी कि रेंटिंग ऑफ इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी, सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस. आई होप वी कैन मूव अहेड. गोइंग कंसर्न मीन्स मेधा कि वो ही इज गोइंग टू कैरी आउट दैट बिजनेस for a long. Going concern क्या होता है? That I'm going to carry out my business for a longer period. I have no plans to. I'm not going to carry it for a fixed period. I have no plans to close the business in the near future. So the person to whom I have transferred the business, he also has the plan to carry out my business for a longer duration. In that case, you will not consider my assets to be deemed, you will not deem my assets to be supplied. Disney sold Hotstar to Jio. सारे mergers और acquisitions सब अब याद आ गए हैं सबको. Carrying on business for an indefinite period of time. Very good, Anubhav. For this clause, ITC must be availed or not. Okay. So that I told you that you have to see that it should be a supply. You are talking about 4C, Anubhav, Mohan Raj, I suppose. So here, yes. So that we have to see that whether it, first of all, it should be a supply per se. So I think business assets, he would have taken the ITC. So that is why it has been deemed to be supplied. But that is a good point you have noted down. So let us see what that point is. Now everybody will give me Instagram, bot, Facebook. Going concern, Nosheen is telling continuously running business for long term. Yes, Nosheen, absolutely correct. Mustafa is telling Discovery purchases WB from AT&T. So you are so much aware of the OTT products. Okay, Satish is saying once again explain para 4. Okay, Satish, let us quickly revise para 4. So three clauses are there in para 4. All three are relating to your business assets or something, your business being continued and you have transferred it to someone, or some assets are being transferred either for personal use or you have scrapped them. So first clause says, where the goods forming part of the assets of a business, where your business assets have been transferred or disposed of, because they have been transferred or disposed of so that they no longer form part of that assets. Why is it says that? It means that they have been transferred permanently. That is why they do not form part of those business assets. आपने अपने कुछ business assets को scrap कर दिया या transfer कर दिया है. That will be considered as supply of goods. Machinery scrap कर दी है. आपने अपने कुछ assets जो है outgoing partner को दे दिए हैं. आपने कोई redundant old stock है, obsolete stock है, वो आपने scrap कर दिया है. That is what covered here. You have transferred it or you have disposed it of. That will be considered as supply of goods. Second point. When the owner of the business has put certain business assets, has put those assets for private use or personal use, or he has given those goods or business assets for the purpose other than business. That means for non-business purpose. So either for private or non-business purpose, some goods are being used. So that usage of goods or making available of such goods, the process of usage or making those goods available for such use is supply of services. Because you are not transferring them permanently, you have just given them for use. You have given your laptop to your friend for using it for some days and then you'll get it back. You have taken some office stationery. You have taken stationery, in fact, can be maybe consumable also, but some kind of goods which you can get it back. So some kind of the goods like we had taken the example of I forgot furniture. You have taken some office furniture for at home for some days. You have used your stock for at home. You have used the LED lights for decorating your house, which is actually your stock. So these are the examples and they will be considered as supply of services. Next is when a person ceases to be a taxable person. So generally it happens when you close your business. So whatever assets are held with you, whatever goods are forming part of your business assets, they will be deemed to be supplied by you. Either you have already supplied them, then it is fine. But whatever has been left, that will be deemed to be supplied by you only if you have transferred your business to another person, because now you are no more a taxable person. So reason for this point or reason for this that you are not a taxable person is that you have transferred your business to another person. You have sold your business to another person, and who is going to continue it for a longer, for indefinite period or for a very longer period, who do not have any intention to close it in near future. That means you have sold your business, you have transferred your business as a going concern. That will be considered as, then in that case, that will be considered as, that will not be considered as being supplied. Another exception is business is carried on by a personal representative. So that means you are, your representative is carrying on that business, because maybe you are no more in that business. The representative will be carrying on that business. So your business is actually not closed in a way. इन दोनों examples में आप देखोगे कि business actually में आपका बंद नहीं हुआ है, बस आप अब taxable person नहीं हो, कोई और taxable person है. तो ये कि आपने business transfer किया इसलिए अब now you cease to be a taxable person. In another case, your representative is going to carry on the business, and that is why the business is actually continuing, and therefore the goods or which are forming part of your assets, they will not be deemed to be supplied. बहुत सारी क्वेरीज आ गई हैं इसके बीच में. Mohanraj, you're right. That everybody has now moved to job work, amalgamation, Jio, Hotstar, OTT platforms, because that actually creates some kind of interest in your minds. So just give me some time, I will answer your query. I think we should assume this, but I just want to confirm that whether it is a precondition or not. Definitely, if it is, it should be there, but I want to know that whether it is a precondition. Thank you, Satish. You understood that point. Office laptop you can take home and you can use it. That will be an example of 4B. Mustafa has given another example. Now, for the OTT platform only. Renting of immovable property, simple. Everyone knows it. Now we come to 5B. 5B is also very important service. In fact, these are the services which are more important. Clause 5, para 5 services are more important from the examination point of view. And they are simple also, you will understand them. Generally, these type of transactions are tested, which we have seen in the past exams. So generally, para 1 is tested, job work is tested, and this para 5 transactions, they are generally tested in the exams. So this is as per my experience for the past questions. Para 5B says the construction services. Now construction services क्या होता है? ध्यान से सुनेंगे एकदम सब लोग. Construction services का मतलब है कि पहले इसको I'm just going to read it and then I will give you an example. ये आपको एकदम clear हो जाएगा. Construction of a complex building, civil structure or part thereof, including a complex or building, intended for sale to a buyer. Intended. Wholly or partly, except, now this is the most important part of this clause, except where the entire consideration has been received after the issuance of completion certificate, where required by the competent authority or after its first occupation, whichever is earlier. Let us take an example and you will understand it. Rathi builders जो हैं, they have constructed an individual residential, units. एक big residential complex बनाया, उसमें individual residential units वो बना रहे हैं. And one person came and he said कि ठीक है, मुझे जो है ये आप एक unit इसमें से दे दीजिए. Now, at what stage this residential unit is being given by Rathi builders? Now, this entire the process, the structure or the residential society, that complex is in the process of construction. So he has taken some consideration because it's not ready to move, it's not ready to shift there, that particular unit. So he has taken some consideration. Total consideration for that residential unit, one residential unit is 1.2 crores. But what Rathi builders has done, they have received only 90 lakhs. Before issuance of the completion certificate. अभी हम उसे completion certificate बोलेंगे, फिर देखते हैं completion certificate क्या होता है. Completion certificate यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है कि competent authority ने जब completion certificate दिया, जो भी उसका engineer, registered engineers वगैरह है, या फिर जिस दिन आपने पहले occupy किया, but वो जो cut off date है, जिसको हम completion date ही बोलेंगे. So before issuance of completion certificate or before occupation, some consideration has been received. That means अभी property complete नहीं हुई थी, उससे पहले थोड़ी सी consideration builder ने आपसे ले ली और वो unit आपके नाम पे book कर दी. Then you will call it as construction services being provided by the builder to the buyer. दूसरा एक example है कि आपने, और बाकी जो 30 लाख रुपए बचे वो आपने बाद में पे किए, मतलब maybe after completion of the property, after completion of the residential unit. Another example is, now this project gets completed, or some of the units got completed. They have been given the completion certificate by the authorities, and or they have been occupied. They are, somebody has purchased them, they are occupied. Now they are being sold to some person. An entire consideration, now the consideration suppose is 1.5 crores. That consideration is being given by the buyer after the completion of the residential unit. Then it will not be considered as construction service. It will become sale of building, और यू कैन से इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी, बट दैट इज नॉट सब्जेक्ट टू जीएसटी. उस पर जीएसटी नहीं लगेगा. सो इस एग्जाम्पल में राठी बिल्डर्स ने अभी क्या किया, जब अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन थी प्रॉपर्टी तभी उसको बुक कर लिया. यू कैन से they are constructing and they have taken the amount, they have taken the consideration for that particular residential unit, and that consideration is not the full consideration. A part of that consideration they have taken at the time when the building was under construction, and remaining consideration they will be taking after completion. So that is construction service. If entire consideration is taken after completion of the residential unit, that is actually sale of building, which is not subject to GST. So I hope this should be clear to you. Let us see what word construction includes, and then we can again come back to this example if anybody has any doubt. Construction का क्या मतलब है? Construction services provide की हैं. पैरा 5B उसको बताता है कि वो सर्विसेज है पहले तो, अदरवाइज तो वो जीएसटी के परव्यू से ही बाहर है. अगर आपने बिल्डिंग जो है आफ्टर कंप्लीशन, इफ यू हैव टेकन द कंसिडरेशन, entire consideration, full consideration after completion, then it is not, it is sale of building. लेकिन उसको आप सेल ऑफ गुड नहीं समझ सकते हो, बिकॉज बिल्डिंग इज नॉट अ गुड. सो सेल ऑफ बिल्डिंग and it is outside GST purview. So only when you have received a part of your consideration before completion certificate has been received, then a builder has received some consideration before building is complete, then you can call it as service. And which service is it? It is a construction service. So construction of a complex building or civil structure, including a complex or building intended for sale to buyer. Intention is to sell it to buyer, but some consideration we have received before completion. So this is the exception. Exception is where the entire consideration has been received after issuance of completion certificate. They are required by the competent authority or after its first occupation. So if it has been occupied, then also you will consider it to be complete, because अगर complete होगी तभी आप उसको, you can take its occupation, whichever is earlier. But before this date, if you have received any consideration, then that will be considered as service, supply of service, and that service will be construction service. Let us see an example. No, sorry, this example we are seeing. Let us see what is construction definition. So construction actually includes additions, alterations, replacements, or remodeling of any existing structure. It includes. So that does not mean कि सिर्फ addition या modification या renovation ही construction होता है. Construction is what you understand from construction of a property, and this also includes your additions, alterations, replacements और remodeling. आपने entire नई structure, उसी structure में कुछ आपने renovation किया है, वो सब कुछ construction में आएगा. लेकिन construction service जो है वो आपको किसी प्रॉपर्टी, किसी रेजिडेंशियल यूनिट का, किसी कॉम्प्लेक्स का के, you have to provide it with regard to that, and your considerations, a part of your consideration should be received before completion certificate. Okay. 5B should be, you want to know it again, Harsh? Okay, I will tell you. Sale of building tends to be capital assets, right? So exempt from, it is outside GST, yes. Not, you can say it is subject to capital gains, you are saying. Okay, tends to capital gains. So because GST is not on the real estate. Building is not a goods per se. Building आप goods की definition से ही बाहर है, immovable property है. Goods do not include anything which is immovable. So इसीलिए बोलती है GST से बाहर है. उसके अलावा वैसे शेड्यूल 3 में भी है ये. रीमॉडलिंग मतलब रेनोवेशन. तो इसको एक बार हम दोबारा समझते हैं. Let us understand it once again. That where a builder has sold any residential unit, any complex to a person, and he has taken some part of the consideration before the completion of that residential complex. किसी बिल्डिंग के कंप्लीट होने से पहले आपने उसकी थोड़ी सी कंसिडरेशन ले ली है, तो हम उसको कंस्ट्रक्शन सर्विस बोलेंगे. किसी बिल्डिंग के कंप्लीट होने के बाद आपने कंसिडरेशन उसको पे करिए, चाहे वो थोड़ी सी, जो भी कंसिडरेशन पे करनी है बिल्डिंग कंप्लीट होने के बाद पे करिए आपने कंसिडरेशन बिल्डर को या सेलर को, तो उस केस में आपका वो वो सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विसेज तो होगा ही नहीं, वो आपका जीएसटी के, इट विल बी आउटसाइड द परव्यू ऑफ जीएसटी बिकॉज दैट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज सेल ऑफ बिल्डिंग, और सप्लाई सेल ऑफ बिल्डिंग इज आउटसाइड द परव्यू ऑफ जीएसटी दैट यू विल डू टुडे. पार्ट ऑफ कंसिडरेशन मीन्स, हाँ, एडवांस पेमेंट फॉर द बिल्डिंग स्टेफी. आपने एडवांस पेमेंट कुछ रिसीव कर लिया है, तो यानी जैसे टोटल कंसिडरेशन 1 करोड़ थी, 50 लाख आपने पहले दे दिया बिफोर कंप्लीशन सर्टिफिकेट, और 50 लाख आप आफ्टर कंप्लीशन ऑफ द बिल्डिंग दोगे. सेल ऑफ बिल्डिंग विच टैक्स इज लेवीड, उसके ऊपर तो आपका फिर, बिकॉज इट इज एन इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी, तो उसके ऊपर स्टैम्प ड्यूटी और वो सब लेवी होगा. जब आप उसको बेचोगे तो स्टैम्प ड्यूटी विल बी लेवीड. बट व्हेन यू, इफ यू वुड हैव परचेज एनी बिल्डिंग during construction, in the when it is under the construction, so you won't all be paying GST on that stamp duty. Yes, Anubhav, you are also right. So I hope 5B is now clear to you all. In case anybody has any doubt, you can let me know. Next is transfer of intellectual property. Intellectual property right. Now any intellectual property basically means कि आपने कोई भी something which you have created on your own, any logo, any brand, music, some music composition is there, or some design is there, some unique design is there, which you don't want to share it with anyone. You want to actually have a complete right on that, or you want it to be not to be shared with anyone. So for that you get it either copyrighted or patents or trademarks. So maybe आपका, आपकी कंपनी का कोई ट्रेडमार्क है, कोई डिजाइन्स है, इंडस्ट्रियल डिजाइन्स which you have got, for which you have got patents, or some book you have written. Any author can have patents or copyright for a book, sorry, not patent, copyright. So those intellectual property, if you are transferring, temporarily transferring it और permitting use, जब भी हम use की बात करते हैं ना, आप देखोगे temporary word साथ में आता ही आता है. मतलब आपने उसको permanently उसको transfer नहीं किया, आपने temporary transfer कर दिया, और enjoyment, या आपने बोला ठीक है आप इसको अभी enjoy करिए, आप इसको use करिए, that is called the, that is a supply of service. अगर आप अपनी आईपीआर, अपने इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट को आप उसको टेम्पररीली ट्रांसफर कर रहे हो, या आप उसको किसी को यूज करने के लिए दे रहे हो, देन दैट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज द सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस. So that can be a book, that can be some new innovation. You have innovated a new product. So if all of you, any of you watch Shark Tank, so you must have seen that there many, some few people come, they say that this is a new product which we have innovated. It has not yet been designed or made by anyone. So we'll be, and generally the sharks ask whether you have got it patented or you have got some rights on it. So that they generally get for that. अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं लगेगा जीएसटी, आफ्टर कंस्ट्रक्शन नहीं. मेरा इट्स अदर वे राउंड. अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन प्रॉपर्टी पे जीएसटी लगेगा. अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन में जब आपने थोड़ी सी उसकी कंसिडरेशन पहले से ले ली है, देन जीएसटी विल बी लेवीड. आफ्टर कंस्ट्रक्शन मतलब पूरा कंस्ट्रक्शन कंप्लीट हो गया और उसके बाद अगर आपने वो प्रॉपर्टी सेल किया, आपने पहले कोई ट्रांजेक्शन की ही नहीं थी, जब पूरी कंस्ट्रक्शन कंप्लीट हो गई, कंप्लीशन सर्टिफिकेट मिल गया, तब आपने एक सेल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया, देन दैट जीएसटी विल नॉट बी लेवीड ऑन दैट. उस पे जीएसटी नहीं लगेगा. रॉयल्टी पेड फॉर म्यूजिक, वेरी गुड एग्जांपल मोहनराज. यू आर पेइंग रॉयल्टी फॉर द म्यूजिक. आपने कोई म्यूजिक एल्बम बनाई, आपने उसके लिए उसको किसी को यूज करने के लिए दे दिया. यूज करने के लिए कैसे दिया, आपने बोला ठीक है आप इसको अपने ओटीटी प्लेटफॉर्म पे, आपका कोई सीरीज है, आप ये सॉन्ग उसमें या म्यूजिक या आप उसमें यूज कर सकते हैं इस फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर पीरियड. दैट फॉर दैट इज अ टेम्पररी ट्रांसफर. आपने किसी को बेचा नहीं है अभी वो, तो फॉर दैट यू आर गेटिंग सम रॉयल्टी. दैट कैन बी एन एग्जाम्पल. Nitin is asking, giving money before completing becomes service. After completion, giving remaining part, not remaining part, entire part, Nitin. Giving money before completing, some money before completing, some after completing, then it is construction service. Giving full money after completing, then it is sale of building. Let me show you once again, because I think इसमें सबको confusion फिर से आ रहा है. ये आपकी completion date है, completion of कॉम्प्लेक्स या बिल्डिंग या रेजिडेंशियल कॉम्प्लेक्स. अगर आपकी पूरी कंसिडरेशन आपने, सॉरी पूरी कंसिडरेशन आपने, लेट मी डू इट अदरवाइज यू विल गेट कंफ्यूज्ड. अगर पूरी कंसिडरेशन आपने कंप्लीशन के बाद दी है, फुल कंसिडरेशन, देन इट इज सेल ऑफ बिल्डिंग. यानी कंप्लीशन से पहले आपने कोई भी पैसा दिया ही नहीं था, नील कंसिडरेशन, सारी कंसिडरेशन बाद में दी है, इट इज सेल. नाउ सेकंड केस, सेल अगर आपकी कंप्लीशन से पहले आपने 50% कंसिडरेशन दे दी और 50% बाद में दिए, देन इट इज कंस्ट्रक्शन सर्विस। या पहले आपने 10% दे दी और बाद में आपने 90% दिए, पहले आपने 40% दे दी, बाद में आपने 60% दिए, देन इट इज कंस्ट्रक्शन सर्विस। बट अगर मैंने ये 40-10 ना देकर यहाँ पे पूरा 100% बाद में दिया है, then it is not a construction service, then it is sale of building. So I hope now it should be clear to you all. In case you still have any doubt, you can let me know. ITC availability से मुस्तफा इसमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, ये पेमेंट के ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा। Transfer of or enjoyment of intellectual property rights, I hope that is clear to you all कि आपने अपना कोई डिजाइन है, some product design, you have given it for use to someone for a particular period, and on that, for that you have charged some consideration, that is considered as supply of service. तो अगर आप अपना intellectual property right permanently transfer नहीं कर रहे हो, very important point here is that it is temporary transfer, it is not permanent transfer. तो वैसे भी हमने देखा, अगर हम कोई भी चीज टेम्पररी यूज के लिए देते हैं तो हम हमेशा उसको सर्विस ही जनरली मानते हैं, और ये इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी राइट्स हैं, तो ये इनटेंजिबल हैं एक्चुअली। इनको अगर आपने टेम्पररीली ट्रांसफर किया है, देन दैट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विसेज। जीएसटी लगेगा पहले बिफोर सेल, अगर बिफोर कंप्लीशन वी हैव गिवन सम अमाउंट मीठा, आफ्टर कंप्लीशन इफ वी हैव पेड द एंटायर कंसिडरेशन, देन दैट विल बी सेल ऑफ बिल्डिंग। इफ वी हैव पेड सर एडवांस अमाउंट, अगर हमने एडवांस अमाउंट दिया है तो फिर जीएसटी लगेगा, यू आर राइट, अगर आपने एडवांस दिया तो जीएसटी जरूर लगेगा। ओके, सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अ सिंगर अलाउज अ कंपनी टू यूज हिज सॉन्ग इन एन एड फॉर अ ईयर, उसने अपना सॉन्ग बोला, आप एक साल एड में यूज कर लीजिए, आपने बोला ओटीटी प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए यूज कर लीजिए, सो दैट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस। अब 5D क्या कहता है? 5D सॉफ्टवेयर सर्विसेज की बात करता है। तो अगर आपने किसी सॉफ्टवेयर का डेवलपमेंट या उसका डिजाइन, मतलब डेवलपमेंट, डिजाइनिंग, प्रोग्रामिंग, कस्टमाइजेशन, अडेप्टेशन, अपग्रेडेशन, इन्हांसमेंट, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ एन आईटी सॉफ्टवेयर। सबसे पहले तो आईटी सॉफ्टवेयर से आप सब, यू ऑल आर कॉन्वर्सेंट विद द आईटी सॉफ्टवेयर, दिस इज एन आईटी वर्ल्ड एंड दिस इज अ वर्ल्ड ऑफ एआई इन फैक्ट। That I will tell you, Mohan Raj, that what will happen in that case. Two of your queries are pending. I will let you know. In fact, uh, you can tell me when you want a break, because already I thought today I will give you break on time. You already had a class at till 9:30, and then within a 1 hour break you had another class. So if you want a break, you all can let me know. Otherwise, I just want to finish this schedule too. We'll have a break, and then we'll take up your queries. Some queries I have already parked. I will be taking it because I want to take it at the relevant time so that it can be more clear to you. Okay. Anubhav, I think, is asking for the break, I suppose. I want to complete it today. That is why I. Okay. So I have to ask others also, but generally, Anubhav, you ask for the break, so that's why I thought. अर्षि सिंह, आप इतने प्यार से पढ़ाते हो कि ब्रेक लेने का मन नहीं करता, तो चलो, सो एटलीस्ट फ्यू स्टूडेंट्स डोंट वांट सम ब्रेक, बट दोज हु वांट द ब्रेक, दे आल्सो डिजर्व इट, सो दे कैन आस्क फॉर इट। तो अगर आपने सॉफ्टवेयर जो है वो, आपने कोई सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलप किया है या आपने कोई सॉफ्टवेयर डिजाइन किया है, डेवलपमेंट एंड डिजाइनिंग सॉफ्टवेयर वो सेम ही है कि आपने सॉफ्टवेयर को बनाया है या आपने कोई प्रोग्रामिंग की है या कस्टमाइज किया है, कस्टमर के हिसाब से आपने, यू हैव कस्टमाइज दैट सॉफ्टवेयर, यू हैव टेलर्ड दैट सॉफ्टवेयर एज पर द नीड्स ऑफ द कस्टमर, उसका जो बिजनेस है उसके हिसाब से यू हैव मेड सम मॉडिफिकेशंस इन द कस्टमर, इन द सॉफ्टवेयर, you have adapted it to a particular environment, that in case this type of industry, for a particular sector, you have adapted a particular software, or you have upgraded it to the new technology, नई टेक्नोलॉजी के हिसाब से आपने उस सॉफ्टवेयर को अपग्रेड कर दिया है, or you have enhanced, you have added some new features to the software. Sorry, please bear with my handwriting. Or you have implemented some software. So this is considered as service. IT software का development, designing, programming, customization, adaptation, upgradation, enhancement, implementation will be considered as service. ये तो सिंपल लग रहा है, IT सॉफ्टवेयर का आपने कुछ भी डेवलपमेंट, डिजाइनिंग, कुछ भी अपग्रेडेशन किया, आपने कस्टमाइज किया सॉफ्टवेयर, कस्टमर के हिसाब से, या फिर आपने उसको अपग्रेड कर दिया नई टेक्नोलॉजी नए फीचर्स से, या फिर आपने कुछ उसमें इन्हांसमेंट किया है, कुछ और अच्छे फीचर्स डाले हैं, तो then in that case, that will be considered a supply of services. So Vidha Solutions develops an accounting software for a business firm. एक business firm है, उसके लिए accounting software बनाए. हो सकता है accounting software हम ये भी कह सकते हैं यहाँ develop किया है. It can be the case of customization also, that he has customized it as per their requirement. Then also it will be considered as supply of services. So I hope this one is simple and you would have understood it. Can we come to 5E now? Harsh is saying if I need, I can take a break. So definitely I will take a break, but I want to cover all the. Mohan Raj, yes, mixed and composite supply is pending. Schedule 3 is also pending, Mohan Raj. That is the point. Movie comes here, movie editing, 18% GST. Where you want to include it, Mohan Raj? You want to add it in schedule 5D. If it is related to software, then I think it can come, but it should be an IT software related to IT software. My parents book a venue for my wedding and they paid some amount in advance. GST will be applicable. This अगर full नहीं मिधा, ये जो आपने example लिया, you have booked a venue, but that venue you have not purchased. That when it is again right to use. ये एक renting या वो जो आपने venue लिया है, that is only a renting of that venue. वहां पे आप उस वेन्यू को परचेज नहीं कर रहे हो. जो कंस्ट्रक्शन सर्विसेज की हम बात कर रहे हैं, वहां पर आपने वो रेजिडेंशियल फ्लैट या रेजिडेंशियल अपार्टमेंट आपने परचेज कर लिया है, और परचेज करते वक्त अगर आप थोड़ी कंसिडरेशन कंप्लीशन से पहले दे रहे हो और थोड़ी कंप्लीशन कंसिडरेशन बाद में दे रहे हो, तब वो कंस्ट्रक्शन सर्विसेज होंगे और उस पर जीएसटी लगेगा. अगर आपने रेडी टू मूव फ्लैट लिया है, आपने अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन फ्लैट लिया है, तो जीएसटी लगेगा. अगर आपने रेडी टू मूव अपार्टमेंट लिया है, परचेज किया है, नॉट रेंटिंग, परचेज किया है, और सारी कंसिडरेशन अब आप बाद में दोगे क्योंकि रेडी टू मूव है, कंप्लीट हो चुका है वो, तब वहां पर जीएसटी नहीं लगेगा. वहां पर आपकी सेल ऑफ बिल्डिंग बनेगी. दैट इज आउटसाइड द परव्यू ऑफ जीएसटी. ओके. नौशीन, हाँ, शेड्यूल 2 पहले कंप्लीट करेंगे. नौशीन बिल्कुल सही. मुस्तफा, आज एक क्विज प्लान किया था मैंने, बट अगर आज नहीं टाइम मिला तो मे बी हम कल या परसों में क्विज करेंगे, क्योंकि कंप्लीट हो जाएगा टॉपिक तो हम आराम से क्विज कर सकते हैं. टेली पैकेज सब्सक्रिप्शन फॉर अ ईयर is a supply of goods or supply of services, because you have designed a software. now अब ये आपने अनुभव, यहाँ पे टेली का जो पैकेज है ना, वो आपने एक नॉर्मल सॉफ्टवेयर यू हैव परचेज्ड इट, तो आपको या तो आपने उसको, because you have to develop it or you have to implement that. अच्छा, from company point of view, where it will company, that means you are saying which the company which has purchased it. Okay, so Medha, now you have understood. Marriage venue will be 5A. 5A क्या था? हाँ, बिल्कुल सही रिद्धि बहन, you have given the correct example that it is 5A. Okay, let me tell your query. Just before that, let me go to the next point, because 5E में हमें थोड़ा सा टाइम लगेगा. पहले हम 5F कर लेते हैं, ठीक है, क्योंकि 5E थोड़ा सा मतलब है कॉम्प्लिकेटेड. उसमें आप लोग भी अपना बहुत माइंड अप्लाई करोगे और फिर उसके बाद आई हैव टू आंसर दोज क्वेश्चंस. 5F. 5F कहता है ट्रांसफर ऑफ राइट टू यूज एनी गुड्स फॉर एनी पर्पस वेदर और नॉट फॉर अ स्पेसिफाइड पीरियड, for cash, deferred payment, or other valuable consideration. Now you have rented a crane for a construction site. 5F का अगर आप कोई भी goods यूज करने के लिए ट्रांसफर कर रहे हो, दैट मीन्स यू आर सॉरी राइट टू यूज इन दैट गुड्स, इफ यू आर ट्रांसफरिंग, देन दैट इज कंसिडर्ड एज सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विसेज. हम बार बार यही देख रहे हैं कि जब भी हम यूज करने के लिए कोई गुड्स ट्रांसफर करते हैं, then that is considered as supply of services and not supply of goods. परमानेंटली हमने ट्रांसफर नहीं किया गुड्स को, क्रेन दिया हमने कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट पे, रेंटिंग हमने उसको रेंट आउट किया है, सो दैट इज कंसिडर्ड एज सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विसेज. इनफैक्ट आप देखोगे 1B में भी आपकी लीजिंग की बात, ये ट्रांसफर ऑफ राइट इन द गुड्स विदाउट ट्रांसफर ऑफ टाइटल की बात हो रही थी, और ये भी मोर और लेस सिमिलर है. बट वहां पे ट्रांसफर व्हेन यू आर ट्रांसफरिंग द राइट इन द गुड्स, दैट मीन्स वहां यूज भी कर सकते हो, यू कैन यूज देम इन एनी मैनर. गुड्स आर देयर विद यू, यू हैव गॉट ऑल द राइट्स इन द गुड्स. दैट इज ओनली डिफरेंस इज दैट इज अ बिगर टर्म. 1B वाला जो ट्रांजेक्शन है वो थोड़ा सा बिगर मतलब ब्रॉडर टर्म है, whereas 5F इज अ स्मॉलर टर्म। आपने सिंपल अपनी गुड्स को रेंट आउट किया कुछ दिन के लिए यूज करने के लिए, आप चाहे उसके बदले में कैश ले रहे हो, कंसिडरेशन ले रहे हो, कुछ भी आप पेमेंट बाद में लोगे उसके लिए, दैट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विसेज। ओके। No, Mustafa, I don't get tired with your questions. I get some energy from your questions because that tells me that you all are understanding. So never feel that I am getting tired from your questions. Never. It can never happen. So let me move to the next point and let me see your renting of right to use. Yes, Riddhiben. That will be covered in 5F. Renting of no immovable property, Nitin, which you gave the answer for this one. This is goods we are talking about. So we are not talking about immovable property here. It is transfer of right to use in goods. यहाँ पे हम immovable property तो हमने 5A में cover किया था. Now it is transfer of right to use any goods. आप कुछ goods को use करने के लिए transfer कर रहे हो. Now we come to 6A. 6A says works contract. Now works contract services are included in the services. That means they are considered as supply of services. वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का पहली बात तो मतलब क्या होता है, डेफिनेशन पढ़ते हैं फिर हम इसको डिफरेंस देखते हैं। वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट और कंस्ट्रक्शन में क्या डिफरेंस है, वैसे बहुत बड़ा डिफरेंस है लेकिन कभी कभी हम कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं दोनों टर्म्स में। सो वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मीन्स अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फॉर बिल्डिंग, कंस्ट्रक्शन, फैब्रिकेशन, completion, erection, installation, fitting out, improvement, modification, repair, maintenance, renovation, alteration और commissioning of any immovable property। सबसे पहली बात तो हम यहाँ पे immovable property की बात ही कर रहे हैं। कंस्ट्रक्शन भी immovable property की ही होती है और यहाँ पे भी immovable property ही है, बट वहां पर हम क्या इन्वॉल्व करते हैं और यहाँ क्या इंक्लूड करते हैं वो भी हमें देखना है। wherein the transfer of property in goods is involved in the execution of such contract। जहां पर हम उन whether the मतलब that means where we are constructing this immovable, we are doing construction or we are doing fabrication, that means हमने उसमें कुछ मतलब कुछ चीजें सेटअप करी है वहां पर, कंप्लीशन, इरेक्शन, इंस्टॉलेशन, जो भी ये सब इंप्रूवमेंट, रेनोवेशन, मॉडिफिकेशन, रिपेयर, मेंटेनेंस, एवरीथिंग वी आर इंक्लूडेड। We are doing it for the immovable property and we are using goods also for doing that। आपने वो कंस्ट्रक्शन में गुड्स भी किए, फॉर गुड्स भी यूज करे हैं। ट्रांसफर इन ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी इन गुड्स मतलब जैसे आपने कोई कंस्ट्रक्शन, इफ यू हैव कंस्ट्रक्टेड एनी प्रॉपर्टी और you have done any renovation or any modification or any repair of an immovable property, then you have provided you have provided those services, plus you have used your own goods। So whatever material was required for carrying out that renovation, construction, repair, maintenance, for that purpose you have used your own goods and that is considered as the works contract। Now what is the difference? Works contract में आपने एक, this is done on your own account, you want to get your house constructed, you hired a contractor and you asked him कि material भी आपका होगा, सब लेबर वेबर सब आपकी होगी, आपको मेरा घर बना के तैयार करके मुझे देना है। Those services are works contract services। Whereas construction services में क्या होता है, some person is constructing some complex, some society, वहां पर आपने उसको बोला कि मुझे आपके सोसाइटी में कोई घर चाहिए या जो भी आपको मतलब यू वांट अ यूनिट, एंड फॉर दैट यू हैव आस्क्ड फॉर द यू हैव बीन आस्क्ड फॉर द कंसिडरेशन। जो भी हमने किया कि कंसिडरेशन आपने थोड़ी, यू हैव परचेज इन अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन अपार्टमेंट सपोज, ये अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन हाउस, so there you have started paying installments or for an under construction building, that is construction services। Whereas here you will be getting, so contractor provides all material, all labor for constructing your factory, for constructing your house, that will be works contract because it includes goods plus services। works contract से जो हम पहले भी समझते थे वो goods और services दोनों साथ साथ सप्लाई होते हैं। so लेकिन इसको हम क्लासिफाई कैसे करेंगे, क्योंकि यहाँ पे गुड्स भी सप्लाई हो रहे हैं साथ साथ सर्विसेज भी आप यूज कर रहे हो, बट वी विल consider it as supply of services only। both these are supply of services only but different kind of services। one is construction service, one is works contract service। और वर्क्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट सर्विस में आपका मटेरियल भी यूज होगा, आपका लेबर भी यूज होगा, and then you will get it constructed, but it will be in relation to immovable property only because before pre GST movable property का भी works contract we used to consider, but under GST the works contract will be in relation to immovable property. So works contract services भी supply of services है, construction services भी supply of services है. वो पैरा 6A में आता है. Next is serving of food. आपने कोई भी food article for human consumption, any drink you have done except alcoholic liquor. Alcoholic liquor तो GST से ही बाहर है. तो अगर आप वो कहीं पे सर्व करो, सो कोई रेस्टोरेंट है वहां पे आपके ड्रिंक्स और फूड सर्व हो रहा है, कोई केटरिंग सर्विसेज आप दे रहे हो, या आप कोई बैंकेट हॉल में यू आर प्रोवाइडिंग दी, नॉट बैंकेट हॉल, इन अ रेस्टोरेंट you have served the buffet. In a banquet hall you have given the catering service, so that will become the same type of catering, because catering aap kisi banquet hall mein, at home also you can give that, but service provided by way of service of goods being food, यानी आप क्या सर्व कर रहे हो, आप फूड सर्व कर रहे हो, और एनी आर्टिकल फॉर ह्यूमन कंजम्पशन other than alcoholic liquor for human consumption. So it should not be alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Where such supply or service is for cash, deferred payment or valuable, बस आपको उसके लिए consideration आपने जो कुछ भी charge करी होगी. लेकिन if you are serving the food, if you are providing any food by way of supply of food articles or any article for human consumption, that will be considered as supply of service only. We need to, Mohan Raj is asking, we need to read full study material or we can recapitulate parts for revision after class. We can use, you can refer recapitulate part also, Mohan Raj, but I generally suggest, because at this point of time you have ample time for May 26 examination. In fact, with this, I just reminded, it just reminded me regarding May 26 study material, I had confirmed, and most probably within 8 to 10 days, it might be available on CDS portal. Please refer that. I was under this impression that it is available, but I had confirmed from the relevant department and they had said within 8 to 10 days. So you can, after a week, you can refer CDS portal, maybe it is available, or you can refer it after 8 to 10 days, you will get to know. So in South, there is a separate contract. Labor contract means building works contract without goods. If it is without goods, there should be transfer in property. There should be some goods also involved. Then only it will be works contract, Mohan Raj. Otherwise, it will become construction services only, simple construction services, but not that kind which where we have discussed in that. That will not, but that will be a service. That will be a service. You can say labor services. Otherwise, आपने कहा labor का अलग है और goods का अलग होता है वहां पे south में. So that will not be termed as works contract. That will be labor services. Yes, if इंस्टॉलमेंट, हाँ हर्ष, आप ऐसे समझ सकते हो कि मतलब अगर आपने कुछ कंसिडरेशन पहले ली है और कुछ कंसिडरेशन बाद में, इंस्टॉलमेंट ही हो गई वो एक तरीके से, तो फिर आप उसको कंस्ट्रक्शन सर्विस मानोगे. थियोरेटिकल नोट्स नौशीन, 5 ही नौशीन समझ में आ गया. थियोरेटिकल नोट्स तो आपको स्टडी मटेरियल में सारांश भी है और आपके पास ये भी है. थियोरेटिकल नोट्स आपको खुद से बनाने पड़ेंगे इफ यू फील दैट यू वांट टू, यू आर मोर कंफर्टेबल विद दैट टाइप ऑफ नोट्स. रेस्टोरेंट में जो खाना सर्व होता है वो सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस होता है. अनुभव बिल्कुल ठीक समझा आपने. हाउ टू गो फॉर स्टडी प्लान. कुलदीप, आज मैं सिर्फ टेक्निकल लेना चाह रही हूँ क्योंकि आई वांट टू कंप्लीट दिस टॉपिक, बट डोंट वरी, जितनी आपकी क्लासेस ये चलेंगी ना, हम बीच बीच में, आई एंड माय टीम विल बी देयर एंड वी विल बी अप्राइजिंग यू विद दीज जनरल थिंग्स ऑल्सो. आप ये क्वेरीज जो है ना, ये पोस्ट करते रहिएगा अपने चैट्स में, so that mostly at the end of the session we'll be there and we'll be assisting you regarding how to study, how to prepare notes, how to answer the questions, what are the points you need to remember, how to be ready for the exam, or how to memorize. इस तरह की चीजें we'll be discussing, so don't worry. If we purchase material and other things and contractor only construct building, then that will be a service, Riddhi Ben. If we are not taking any material, that is what Mohan Raj has also asked, that if we are giving our own material, then that is not a works contract. But again, if we are giving our own material, the whatever the other person is giving, he is providing you the labor, but that will also be a service, but not this service. Achha, you were saying that 5E left. 5E left हो गया. I have not. हाँ, 5E left. I got that. Your point. 5E is left. I got that point. Study plus referencer, RTP and your PPT. हाँ, that will be complete, Kuldeep. So let us come to 5B now. 5E, sorry. Very good for reminding me. I myself forgot. And then schedule 2 will be completed. Agreeing to obligation to refrain from an act or to tolerate an act or a situation or to do an act. इस एग्जाम्पल को भी हम बाद में देखेंगे. पहले हम इस सर्विस को 3 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड करके देखते हैं. ये सर्विस क्या कहती है? ये सर्विस है, ये तो समझ में आ रहा है कि ये सर्विस है. अभी क्या है सर्विस? एग्रीइंग टू द ऑब्लिगेशन टू रिफ्रेन फ्रॉम एन एक्ट, हमने किसी को बोला ये काम मत करना प्लीज आप, और ये काम नहीं, मैं आई एम रिक्वेस्टिंग यू नॉट टू डू दिस एक्ट, आप बस ये, आप जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल you don't want your roommate to switch on the light in the night, he is in the habit of reading at night and you are a morning person, so you requested him कि बस तुम यार रात में मुझे डिस्टर्ब मत करना, you please switch off the light after 10 o'clock, or you don't switch on the light, in fact I would say refrain from doing an act, so please don't switch on the, keep the light switch on after 10 o'clock. So in return आपने कुछ बार्टर कर लिया कि ठीक है, that way I will give you a treat in the morning or whatever it is. So agreeing to obligation to refrain from an act, एक simple example है, बहुत daily relatable वाला. I will give you proper example also. So I have refrained him from doing that act. Second, obligation to tolerate an act or situation. अब उल्टा हो गया, आपके रूममेट ने कहा I want to study at night, please you bear with me, I will be switching on the light in the night and I will be studying throughout whole night, so please bear with me, I will give you a treat in the morning. So then you are tolerating his act. आपने कहा ठीक है चलो आज मैं bear कर लेता हूँ, आज मैं आपको कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा, though I did not want it, but let it be. And obligation to do an act. Something you which you are not obligated to do, but somebody has asked you to do that. जैसे for example, ये because the type of example which we are continuing, so somebody has asked you to um, suppose you are going to the college and you want some मैसेज टू बी कम्युनिकेटेड टू समवन, तो आपने बोला ये आपकी ऑब्लिगेशन नहीं है, बट आपने बोला ये मेरा एक मैसेज उनको पास ऑन प्लीज कर देना आप, तो आपने उनसे एक ऑब्लिगेशन उनके ऊपर क्रिएट कर दी कि ठीक है आपको ये काम मेरे लिए करना है. अब इसके हम फॉर्मल एग्जांपल्स करते हैं तो आपको समझ में आएगा. सबसे पहला है टू रिफ्रेन फ्रॉम एन एक्ट का एक एग्जांपल देखिए. अ केबल ऑपरेटर सखाराम हैज एंटर्ड इनटू एन एग्रीमेंट विद केबल ऑपरेटर आत्माराम that Sakharam will not provide cable connections in the specified areas where Atmaram is providing connections. In fact, it can be vice versa also कि दोनों एक दूसरे के एरिया में ऑपरेट नहीं करेंगे, ऐसा भी हो सकता है. And generally these type of agreements are there with the cable operators. Specified designated areas and they say will not operate in each other's areas. बट यहाँ पर सखाराम स्पेशली आत्माराम के पास आए और उन्होंने बोला कि देखो ये जो कॉलोनी ए बी और सी है, there you will not provide any cable connections, I will be providing, I will give you some consideration for that. So that is a non-compete agreement, that is called non-compete agreement, जहां पे हम ये बोलते हैं कि आपको ये काम नहीं करना है, you have to refrain from doing this act, and for that you are entering into a contract, you are getting a consideration for that. That constitutes supply of service and that service is agreeing to obligation to refrain from an act. Actually क्या है, ये आप जनरली देखोगे तो आपको लगेगा नहीं कि ये सर्विस है कोई, या ये भी कोई सप्लाई हो सकती है, बट ये भी एक सप्लाई होती है और इसको समझना जरूरी है. इसमें बहुत इन डेप्थ नहीं जाएंगे बिकॉज एट इंटरमीडिएट लेवल वी हैव नॉट डिस्कस्ड इट इन डेप्थ. दिस विल बी डिस्कस्ड एंड इन डेप्थ एट फाइनल लेवल. अभी आपको जितना मैं समझा रही हूँ आप उतना समझिएगा, फिर अपनी क्वेरीज भी पूछिएगा. नहीं, देयर विल बी अ फॉर्मल एग्रीमेंट ऑल्सो कुलदीप, इसके लिए फॉर्मल एग्रीमेंट भी होगा. ये तो भी आपको केबल ऑपरेटर का लग रहा है कि ये बहुत इनफॉर्मल सा है, बट देयर कैन बी अ फॉर्मल एग्रीमेंट फॉर दिस ऑल्सो. ओके. तो दिस इज वन पॉइंट. अब सो अनुभव फाउंड द अर्लियर एग्जांपल्स वेरी रिलेटेबल. सो अब ये जो आपने ये वाले जो तीन टाइप ऑफ सर्विसेज हैं, रिफ्रेनिंग फ्रॉम एन एक्ट, टॉलरेटिंग एन एक्ट और डूइंग एन एक्ट, इसके लिए इनके लिए सबसे पहले टू फॉल इन दिस क्लॉज there should be either an expressed agreement or an implied agreement. So I think Kuldeep your point get clear that there can be an implied or expressed agreement also, but एक agreement होगा, एक formal agreement होगा और एक consideration भी जरूर होनी चाहिए उसके लिए चार्ज. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर consideration वाली बात भी क्लैरिफाई की गई है कि कंसिडरेशन भी होनी चाहिए, बिकॉज अदरवाइज वैसे भी वो फिर शेड्यूल 1 में कवर भी नहीं होता कहीं पे. So these are the conditions for falling in 5E. अब we'll see the examples and you will get these 3 points clear. अब हम formal proper examples कर रहे हैं. पहला example, act of refraining from an act. A builder refraining from constructing more than a certain number of floors, even though permitted to do so by municipal authorities, against the compensation paid by the neighboring housing project who wants to protect its sunlight. अब एक बिल्डर ने जो है, एक हाउसिंग सोसाइटी सिर्फ 4 फ्लोर्स की हाउसिंग सोसाइटी थी, दूसरे बिल्डर ने सोचा हुआ था कि मेरे को तो 21 फ्लोर्स का परमिट मिला हुआ है, आई विल बी कंस्ट्रक्टिंग 21 फ्लोर्स, बट दिस सोसाइटी इट अप्रोच्ड बिल्डर, दिस हाउसिंग प्रोजेक्ट इट अप्रोच दिस बिल्डर एंड सेड कि प्लीज रिफ्रेन फ्रॉम मेकिंग हायर फ्लोर्स, आप इसको 10 फ्लोर्स तक ही कन्फाइन कीजिए, क्योंकि फिर भी हमें थोड़ी कुछ सनलाइट मिल जाएगी, अदरवाइज आर सनलाइट आर एयर सर्कुलेशन दैट विल बी स्टॉप्ड एंड देयरफॉर इट रिफ्रेन। इसने बोला ठीक है आप एक कॉम्पनसेशन मुझे दे दीजिएगा, इतना कॉम्पनसेशन आप मुझे देंगे। कॉम्पनसेशन आते ही कंसिडरेशन वाली बात भी आ गई, सो देन आई विल एग्री टू दैट। सो दिस इज अ सर्विस अंडर सेक्शन अंडर पैरा 5E। क्लियर, सिंपल है, समझ आ रहा है। उसके बाद नेक्स्ट एग्जांपल, अ शॉपकीपर अलाउइंग अ हॉकर टू ऑपरेट फ्रॉम द कॉमन पेवमेंट इन फ्रंट ऑफ शॉप। ये आपने बहुत ज्यादा देखा होगा इफ यू आर फ्रॉम मेट्रोज और मे बी अदर सिटीज ऑल्सो। एक आपकी एक प्रॉपर शॉप है, उसके बाहर आपने एक स्ट्रीट वेंडर को अलाउ कर दिया कि आप अपना यहाँ पर कोई भी, यू कैन हैव सम चार्ट और यू कैन हैव सम क्लॉथ्स यू कैन सेल। कुछ एक छोटे वेंडर को आपने वहां पे, स्ट्रीट हॉकर को आपने अलाउ कर रखा है उस शॉपकीपर ने, कि फॉर एंड ही इज चार्जिंग समथिंग फ्रॉम दैट स्ट्रीट वेंडर, क्योंकि दे ऑल्सो नीड सम प्लेस टू सेट अप देयर, दे ऑल्सो वांट सम फिक्स काइंड, मोर और लेस फिक्स काइंड ऑफ अ प्लेस। तो दैट street vendor who has been allowed by the shopkeeper, so shopkeeper is charging something from that street vendor, consideration हो गई, and tolerating an act हो गया, he is tolerating his presence in front of his shop। वो बोलता है ठीक है तुम यहाँ पर मेरी शॉप के बाहर अपना एक लगा सकते हो, सेटअप कर सकते हो अपना जो शॉप है, बट उसके लिए आई विल बी चार्जिंग यू समथिंग। सो दिस इज द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ टॉलरेटिंग एन एक्ट। आई विल टेक योर क्वेरीज, डोंट वरी, let me complete this clause. An industrial unit agrees to install equipment for zero emission or discharge at the behest of the RWA for of a neighboring residential complex against a consideration. Again you can see consideration is there. तो हमने देखा था यार, एक तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होगा, एग्रीमेंट होगा, एक्सप्रेस या इम्प्लाइड एग्रीमेंट होगा, और दूसरा कंसिडरेशन होगा, तभी 5E में आप फॉल करोगे। तो इंडस्ट्रियल यूनिट ने जो है वो बहुत उसका जो है उसने एक इक्विपमेंट एस्टेब्लिश किया जिससे कि उसकी जीरो एमिशंस रही, to make to zero emission equipment it has established at the behest of a RWA. Now he is charging for some consideration from this RWA. इसका कोई authority से, there was no legal obligation, there was no legal obligation to set up this zero emission equipment, ठीक है, बट स्टिल ही डिड इट एट दी बिहेस्ट ऑफ दिस RWA, क्योंकि RWA ने बोला हम आपको उसके लिए कंसिडरेशन दे देंगे, आप बस ये जीरो एमिशन वाला इक्विपमेंट लगा लो ताकि कोई भी पॉल्यूशन ना हो, उसके लिए आपको कंसिडरेशन मिल जाएगी। तो दैट विल बी ऑब्लिगेशन टू डू एन एक्ट। सो आई होप दिस गेट्स क्लियर टू यू। ये 3 तरह की ट्रांजेक्शन्स जो हैं सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस होती हैं अंडर सेक्शन पैरा 5E। Now let me take your doubts. I hope this is clear. But these are not continuous acts. How can GST department know if they, वो तो फिर अनिल किसी भी चीज के लिए जीएसटी डिपार्टमेंट को नहीं पता चलेगा, ऐसे तो आप अपने घर में कुछ भी कर सकते हो। सो हाउ कम सम पर्सन विल नो, जीएसटी डिपार्टमेंट सिटिंग इन देयर ऑफिसेज, दे हैव देयर ओन मीन्स, आपको हर चीज के लिए यू हैव टू गेट रजिस्ट्रेशन पैन, वो सब चीजें, देयर आर सो मेनी वेज टू ट्रैक इट, सो डोंट वरी हाउ जीएसटी डिपार्टमेंट विल ट्रैक इट। हमें इतनी ज्यादा, एक तो वी आर सो मच कंसर्न कि कोई इलीगल एक्ट हो रहा है तो उस पर जीएसटी क्यों लग रहा है, जीएसटी डिपार्टमेंट का कहीं नुकसान तो नहीं हो रहा, कैसे हम वो इसको ट्रैक करेगा। All these transactions, for tracking these transactions, there are ways, but we for the timing know that this is a supply per se. Consideration 2D definition correlate. Yes, Mohanraj, good, you have correlated it with para 5E. Good. Best example, a lawyer Jolly A not taking case of Jolly B and Jolly A paying some consideration to Jolly B. Another good example, ये केस तुम मत देना मेरा, तो लेकिन देयर शुड बी सम एक्सप्रेस्ड और इम्प्लाइड एग्रीमेंट फॉर दैट कि आप मेरा केस नहीं लोगे, जो भी फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर केस, ये केस तुम नहीं लोगे, मैं ही लूंगा, उसके लिए आई एम पेइंग यू द कंसिडरेशन, मतलब रिफ्रेनिंग फ्रॉम डूइंग एन एक्ट बेसिकली। ओके, Shamli needs 5 minutes break. Shamli, definitely, बस आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू द ब्रेक। आर वी सपोज टू राइट सेक्शन शेड्यूल? मैंने आपको पहले भी बोला, हमेशा बोला श्रद्धा, कि सेक्शन शेड्यूल नंबर्स, नोटिफिकेशन, सर्कुलर्स, गो फॉर देम ओनली व्हेन यू आर थरो विद द प्रोविजन। पहले आप प्रोविजन पढ़ो, पहले प्रोविजन समझो, प्रोविजन लिखो एग्जाम में, आप सारे सजेस्टेड आंसर्स में देख सकते हो, आपको कहीं भी ऐसा नहीं लगेगा कि सेक्शन, नोटिफिकेशन, सर्कुलर, रूल नंबर्स पे कोई फोकस है, बिकॉज एट इंटरमीडिएट लेवल वी वांट आवर स्टूडेंट्स टू बी फर्स्ट थरो विद द प्रोविजन। हम चाहते हैं पहले वो प्रोविजन समझें, तो आप प्रोविजन समझ लो, फिर उसके बाद आपको अगर रिपीटेटिव स्टडी के बाद वो सेक्शन रूल नंबर्स याद है तो आप लिख सकते हो, दैट गिव्स एन एज टू योर आंसर, बट वी ऑलवेज सजेस्ट इट। अवर इंटेंशन, हाँ मोहन राज सिंह, हमारी इंटेंशन ये है कि जीएसटी काउंसिल लॉस में नहीं चलना चाहिए। मोहन राज, गुड टू सी यू राइटिंग इन हिंदी। तो जीएसटी काउंसिल की इतनी हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को मतलब दे आर सो मच कंसर्न अबाउट जीएसटी काउंसिल एंड वेरी गुड टू सी दैट. अब Steffi has again come to job work. So what we can do is we'll take a break and then we will deal with it. Okay, Shraddha, you got your point. So Steffi, just I'm parking your query for the timing. I will definitely clarify. Sale of baked items also become service whether in offline or through online mode. It depends how you are selling it. If you are serving it in a restaurant, if you are actually serving it, then it becomes a service. But if it is on the in the shop, the person is coming and taking it, just you have a bakery confectionery shop and the person is taking it over the counter, no service of, you're not serving it, in some, you're not having some dining place for the person to have it, relish it there, then it will not be a service. So it will be a service only when you have some place to serve it. थोड़ा रेट कम कर लें जीएसटी वाले इसी बात पे. हाँ, उनका थोड़ा कंप्लायंस बढ़ जाएगा. सो विच इज फार्मर, which example you had given, Mustafa? You have given harvesting, crop cleaning. I had already told you that this can go, this will, but some process should be done, actually some process should be done on the goods. So we should have thorough conceptual clarity. Kuldeep, you're right. Okay. And Sakti, how the question asked in these schedules, I told you that basically I have given you few schedules, 5 है, 6 है, 1 है. उसपे आपको you will be given some question that whether it is supply of service or supply of goods. This question can be there, or I will take some examples also to tell you the uh, questions which will be coming. Maybe in the subsequent classes we'll take the type of questions coming. अगर आपको provision याद है तो automatically section also comes in mind. That is very true, Mohan Raj, because you generally refer these sections also when you are learning. But even if you don't remember it, that is not a problem. You should remember the provision. So non-compete agreement, Prerna, means that you are actually asking a person not to do a task. The agreement is not to do a person, not to compete with you. So don't operate in my area as a non-compete agreement. Now, this is what cable operator Sakharam is saying. Don't operate in my area. You, or don't like somebody give me that, don't take my cases. One lawyer is saying that you should not take up these cases, not take up my cases, or this particular type of cases you should not take. So that is a non-compete agreement. You should not compete with me in those particular areas. With this, we are taking a 5 minutes break because all of you are in dire need of break, I suppose, and we'll be back after 5 minutes. We'll start with mixed and composite supplies, and then we will do schedule 3 because schedule 3 is important and it will take time. First of all, we'll quickly cover mixed and composite supplies, then we will do schedule 3. So, Ashok ji, break लगा दीजिए. अशोक जी, ब्रेक लगा दीजिए 5 मिनट का. ओके. ठीक है, स्टार्ट करूं? Welcome back, students. So let us resume. We have covered Schedule 1, Schedule 2, and in Schedule 1, yes, Mohan Raj, I will answer a query. In Schedule 1, we had left one topic that was related persons. I told you supply between related persons without consideration will be considered as supply. But yesterday I did not cover related persons. In fact, this definition of related persons you will be covering in detail in value of supply. We'll just have an overview here because I don't want to get, again, we don't want to get lost in something which we are going to do it in detail afterwards, and that is more relevant there. But here, this particular clause is more important. We'll just go through the other clauses, and this clause is what is more relevant because in supply chapter, this clause has basic application. So related person, हम क्या मानेंगे कि that related person, first of all, any person including legal person shall be deemed to be related persons if such persons, अगर वो, I will quickly go through the points. अगर वो एक दूसरे के business में, if they are the officers in each other's business, so A and B are officers in each other's business. A is an officer in B's business, B is an officer in A's business, or directors in each other's business, then they will be considered to be related persons. रिलेटेड पर्सन का कॉन्सेप्ट क्या है? पहले तो रिलेटेड पर्सन का मतलब ये होता है हम रिलेटेड पर्सन ट्रांजेक्शंस को, इफ यू सी इन इनकम टैक्स आल्सो, इन जीएसटी आल्सो, वी ट्रीट इट डिफरेंटली because there we feel that they must have, their relationship must have influenced the price, their relationship must have influenced the ट्रांजेक्शन. सो वहां पर हमें कहीं ना कहीं लगता है कुछ ना कुछ हिडन है, कुछ ट्रू एंड फेयर व्यू मतलब रिप्रेजेंटेशन नहीं आ रहा. दैट इज वाई वी ट्रीट देम डिफरेंटली. सो वहां जो जीएसटी की जो रिलेटेड पर्सन की डेफिनेशन है उसमें आप देखोगे जहां पे भी आई कैन इन्फ्लुएंस द अदर पर्सन बिजनेस, they are considered as related person. Like first one is that they are the officers or directors in each other's business, then they are related persons. Partners in a firm, they all are related to each other. Employer and employee, yesterday also we did that. In fact ये भी important है, supply के chapter के हिसाब से ये भी important है. अगर partner हम employer employee देखें, they are related persons because they can influence. उनका आपस में price जो है, जो भी उनके transaction है, that can be influenced, that can be a not in मतलब that there can be some hidden part, some tax evasion part can be there. One person controls, owns, or holds directly or indirectly 25, more than 25%, in fact 25% or more voting shares of both of them. So there are two entities and there is a separate person C who is holding at least 25% or 25% of the voting power in both A and as well as in B. Then these two persons will become related. A and B are related. Okay. One of them controls the other. Now this is third person is controlling two entities. These two entities who are being controlled are related. This is here. Here A is controlling B. So A is controlling B. A is controlling B means या तो 51% share है या फिर it is controls its it has a significant influence in it has a significant say. Significant influence is a different thing. It has a control over the operations and decisions of entity B. A third person controls both of them. अभी तो हमने बोला था एक थर्ड पर्सन के पास उसके 25% या उस एटलीस्ट 25% के वोटिंग स्टॉक्स हैं और अ थर्ड पर्सन controls both of them. So these two will become related. अगर उनको एक ही पर्सन कंट्रोल कर रहा है तो ये दोनों एंटिटीज आपस में रिलेटेड बन जाएंगी. और अदरवाइज A and B are together controlling C. Now they are controlling a person. So they are controlling a single person. Such person together control another person. So again A और B will be related. थोड़ा सा ये ध्यान देना है कि related कौन है. A और B आपस में related हो जाते हैं उससे. And last is not last but second last is members of the same family. अब related person जो सबसे पहले strike करता है वो यही करता है कि अगर हम same family के members हैं then we are related. One of them is sole agent or sole distributor, sole concessioner of the other. अगर आपका सोल सेलिंग एजेंट है, सोल डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर है, सोल कंसेशनर है तो वो आपका रिलेटेड पर्सन है. सोल कंसेशनर है ना, वो आपके लिए वही एक एजेंट है आपका, वही एक डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर है आपका, तो दैट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज योर रिलेटेड पर्सन. इसमें हम सबसे पहले देखो एम्प्लॉयर एम्प्लॉय में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, एम्प्लॉयर एम्प्लॉय रिलेटेड है. मेंबर्स ऑफ सेम फैमिली में थोड़ा सा एक समझने वाला पॉइंट है. कि रिलेटेड पर्सन्स में जो हमने फैमिली की हमने बोला मेंबर्स ऑफ सेम फैमिली, उसमें फैमिली की डेफिनेशन एक छोटा सा इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट बताती है. Who are considered as my family members? My spouse and children will be my family members, but my parents, my grandparents, brothers and sisters will be my related person or will be my family only if they are wholly or mainly dependent on said person. Okay, so that means my spouse and children, maybe they are dependent on me, maybe they are not dependent on me, still they will be my family. यानी दो ही लोग हैं जो आपकी फैमिली अनकंडीशनली बन जाते हैं, that is your spouse and your children. They may be dependent on you or they may not be dependent on you. But अगर आपके brother, sister, parents और grandparents की भी हम बात करें, so they should be wholly or mainly dependent on you, then only they will be considered your family. अगर वो independent हैं, they are financially independent, they don't have, they are financially free, or they are not dependent on you for money, then they will not be your family. एक एग्जाम्पल, मतलब इसका एक पिक्टोरियल रिप्रेजेंटेशन क्या है? फॉर अ सपोज दिस इज द पर्सन, his wife and his children are his family. My wife and my children are my family, whether they are dependent on me or not. So they will always be considered as family. अगर किसी क्वेश्चन में आपको कोई ट्रांजेक्शन दिखती है जो कि which is between the person and his spouse or between his children, some services given by his children or given to his children, some goods exchange between children and the father or mother, then you will assume कि वहां पर आपको डिपेंडेंसी नहीं देखनी है, whether the children are dependent or not, क्योंकि children will not always be small children ना. It is possible that your son is a well settled person, he is not financially dependent on you, but still if you are receiving any services from him, that will be considered as received from a related person, and you have to see the applicability of schedule 1 in that case. Okay, second comes other family members. Now, other family members, your mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, brother, and sister. So they become my mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, brother, and sister are my family only if they are wholly dependent on me. अगर वो सिर्फ मुझ पर डिपेंडेंट है, completely dependent on me, then only they will be considered my family. So this is a very simple concept. I hope इसमें किसी को कोई डाउट होना नहीं चाहिए. We'll do its examples, then you will get it more clear. But अभी इतना समझ में आता है कि अगर मेरे parents, grandparents, brothers or sisters financially independent हैं, they are not dependent on me, तो वो चाहे brothers sisters हैं, but वो family की definition से बाहर हो जाएंगे. जबकि spouse और children, whatever the case is, they are your family in any case. Okay. फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक मैंने इसके लिए बनाया था. तुकाराम गोडबोले इज अ बिजनेसमैन हु लिव्स विद हिज फैमिली इन नागपुर. हिज फैमिली कंप्राइजेस ऑफ हिज फादर बाजीराव, मदर काशीबाई, and elder brother Champak and younger sister Madhvi, his wife Sanyukta, who is a housewife, and two children Atmaram and Sarojini. So Tukaram is a manufacturer and supplier of toys in Mumbai. Champak kaun hai? Champak is his elder brother. Now Champak is a well-settled interior decorator residing in California, USA. तो इस केस में चंपक जो है वो वेल सेटल्ड इंटीरियर डेकोरेटर है, एंड चंपक इज ब्रदर ऑफ तुकाराम. सो वेदर चंपक विल बी हिज फैमिली. ओके, चलो अनुभव, यहां तक कोई डाउट नहीं है. जैसे तो इन दिस केस चंपक विल नॉट बी हिज फैमिली बिकॉज चंपक इज अ वेल सेटल्ड इंटीरियर डेकोरेटर, सो ही इज नॉट डिपेंडेंट ऑन. आई एम एक्चुअली गिविंग द आंसर बिकॉज आई जस्ट वांट टू कवर द रिमेनिंग कॉन्सेप्ट्स. I know you all know the answer and you must have understood this. In case any doubt, you can tell me. So Champak is not dependent on Tukaram. Champak is not dependent on Tukaram and therefore he is not his family. So any transactions between them will not be considered as related party transactions. Madhvi. Madhvi is, who is Madhvi? Madhvi is his wife. Okay, younger sister, sorry. Champak is brother and younger sister is Madhvi. So Madhvi is younger sister. She is financially wholly dependent on Tukaram. Since Madhvi, sister of Tukaram, is wholly dependent, since she is wholly dependent, she will be considered as his family. Sarojini registered under GST in Maharashtra. Now, Sarojini is an independent director in a multinational company. Sarojini is his daughter because he has two children, Atmaram and Sarojini. So, though Sarojini is fully independent. She is an independent. That does not mean that because she is an independent director, she is financially independent. That does not mean she is a director in multinational company, and that is why she must be financially independent. Although she is financially independent, then also she will be considered as his family. Why? Because spouse and children, whether independent or dependent, will always be your family. तो अगर आप spouse के कोई transaction कर रहे हैं या children के साथ कोई transaction कर रहे हैं, it will always be considered as a related party transaction. Partially depend, wholly or mainly dependent होना चाहिए, partially dependent नहीं. मतलब basically he should be fully dependent on that person. Atmaram is a student of class 10th. Now Atmaram is fully dependent. He is a son of Mr. Tukaram, and he is fully, since he is a student, so he must be, we are assuming that he will be fully dependent on Tukaram, and therefore he will also be a, but it does not matter whether Atmaram is dependent or not, he will always be considered as his family. तो तुकाराम की फैमिली में हमने जो जो मेन जो मेन कैरेक्टर्स थे, सॉरी, जो जो मेन उसके फैमिली मेंबर्स थे, उनका हमने फैमिली रिलेशन समझ लिया कि हाँ, whether they are considered as family or not. So I hope this related person concept is clear, and any transaction between related person, we know that it is considered as supply even if it is made without consideration. Schedule 2 we have covered. We were about to cover schedule 3, but before that I quickly want to cover the mixed supply and composite supply concept, because थोड़ा सा easy है और आप जल्दी cover कर लोगे. तो उसके बाद after that we'll come to schedule 3. Composite supply. Now, what is a composite supply? Composite supply means a supply made by a taxable person to a recipient. Any supply which is made by a taxable person to a recipient, which is comprising of 2 or more taxable supplies. सबसे पहली बात तो है कि composite या mixed supply में हमें ये तो समझ में आता है कि हमारी एक से ज़्यादा supplies हैं, and we have to find out that because they are being clubbed with each other. 2 or more services have been clubbed with each other in composite and mixed supplies, and we have to find out that whether it is a supply of goods or supply of services, or if it is a supply of goods per se, then which particular rate we have to apply. ये classification जो mixed और composite supply का है, ये क्यों इतना important है? क्योंकि कई बार ऐसा होता है कि when you are providing these services or you are supplying goods or you are supplying both, there is a combination of supplies which you are making. You are making 2 or more supplies together, and then you get confused that which rate has to be applied. For example, आप जो है you are renting out your house and there are 3 floors and you have rented it to one person. So on one floor there is a residential property. On one floor has been given for a residential purpose, other floor has been given for a commercial purpose, and the third one has been given for some charitable purpose. So different purposes are there and they can be subject to different rates. But if they have been clubbed together, if I am giving them at one price to a person, I have said for these 3 floors, I will be charging you 1 lakh rupees per month. So that automatically these 3 services, there are 3 independent services: renting of residential complex, renting of commercial space, and then charitable activity. So these 3 gets clubbed. Now then I have to see that how these 3 have to be treated. Another example can be, I have made a gift pack where 5 items are there. Some balloons are there, then cookies are there, candies are there, and then there can be some soft toy. So all these have been clubbed together, and I have made a one package of it, and that has been sold. Now all suppose are different, liable to different rates. So question will arise, now this package has been supplied together, what rate do we have to apply? Then it becomes a problem. So therefore, in that case, we have to refer to the definition of composite or mixed supplies. उसमें categorization है कि वो composite supply है तो different तरीके से rate लगेगा, mixed supply है तो different तरीके से rate लगेगा, और अगर मान लीजिए वो आपस में किसी भी तरह से कुछ relation है ही नहीं, सब अलग अलग supplies है, because it is not the case that I cannot make more than one supply. I am making 5 supplies to a person, so then different rates have to be applied for that. So then it will be a different individual supplies. Then it will be different individual supplies and individual rates have to be applied. वहां पर हमें कुछ भी क्लब करने की जरूरत नहीं है. But for that we should know composite, mixed and the individual supplies concept. So first of all we are dealing with composite supply. Composite supply means 2 or more supplies यहाँ पर है, और एनी जहाँ पे गुड्स होंगे या सर्विसेज होंगे या एनी कॉम्बिनेशन, कुछ गुड्स हैं कुछ सर्विसेज हैं या सिर्फ गुड्स हैं सिर्फ कुछ अलग अलग तरीके की सर्विसेज हैं. Main point here is naturally bundled. These services or these goods should be naturally bundled and supplied in conjunction with each other in the ordinary course of business. यानी normally as a business practice हम उनको साथ में ही supply करते हैं. That is called composite supply. और इनमें से फिर एक सप्लाई प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई हो जाएगी. अब हमने जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल हमने कहा कि जब हम लैपटॉप देते हैं तो हम उसके साथ बैग भी प्रोवाइड करते हैं. एज अ बिजनेस प्रैक्टिस दिस इज बीइंग डन. देन दैट विल बिकम अ कॉम्पोजिट सप्लाई. If I am selling my product, I give warranty as part of my package. So then it is a composite supply, naturally bundled. In ordinary course of business, I always give warranty to a person who is purchasing my product, my electronic product. But अब जो दो प्रोडक्ट्स या एक प्रोडक्ट और एक सर्विस हम दे रहे हैं उसमें हमारी प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई क्या है वो आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ता है. कॉम्पोजिट सप्लाई के केस में प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई को आइडेंटिफाई करना बहुत जरूरी है क्योंकि जो रेट ऑफ टैक्स हम लगाएंगे वो प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई का लगाते हैं. इसीलिए हमें कॉम्पोजिट सप्लाई में देखना पड़ता है कि कौन सी सप्लाई मेन सप्लाई है हमारी. फॉर एग्जाम्पल लेट अस सी फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई क्या है. प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई मीन्स द सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स और सर्विसेज विच कॉन्स्टिट्यूट्स द प्रीडोमिनेंट एलिमेंट. मतलब मेन सप्लाई क्या है जो मेन सप्लाई जो हम करना चाहते थे उसकी वजह से कुछ एंसिलरी सर्विस हमने उसके साथ जोड़ दी. जैसे कि इलेक्ट्रॉनिक प्रोडक्ट हमने सप्लाई किया एंड वी सेड कि आपको हम इसके साथ साथ इंस्टॉलेशन भी दे देंगे. We will give you an electronic product and we'll get it installed at your home. For installation, we'll be charging 100 rupees. Product is worth rupees 5,000. So main supply is supply of electronic product and mixed, it is a composite supply. So we generally provide the installation service. So this installation service is the ancillary service or secondary service. So whatever rate has to be applied is of the principal supply and that will be supply of the electronic product. It's because this is the predominant element of the composite supply and to which any other supply forming part of that composite supply is ancillary. तो बाकी जो भी supplies हैं वो सारी ancillary services हो जाए, ancillary supplies बन जाएंगी. Okay. Now how to determine whether services are bundled in. Basically services के लिए ये हमने पुराने law से लिया है कि how services are bundled in ordinary course of business आप कैसे निकालोगे. First of all, consumer और यार recipient का क्या perception है, whether he always accepts this. In fact, this is not service per se, it is service plus goods. So if the consumer perceives that these two products should be clubbed, they should be always given together. For example, mobile and battery. So when you go to the market to purchase mobile phone, you will always expect कि mobile के साथ battery भी मिलनी चाहिए. It should not be so कि mobile phone आपको अलग से दे दिया है, battery आपको अलग से purchase करनी है. And these days the battery of the mobile phone is inbuilt, you can't take it out also. But earlier when it used to be separate, not separate, but you could take it out and you could change it. तब भी we used to expect कि mobile phone will always be given with the battery. In fact, charger used to be a very inherent part. It used to be naturally bundled, but these days very expensive phones, they don't give charger at all. So cost cutting वाला एक तरीका है वो नहीं देते, but वैसे वो earlier it used to be naturally bundled कि phone के साथ mobile phone के साथ mobile charger हमेशा दिया जाता था. तो ये आपके रिसिपिएंट का परसेप्शन क्या है. डज ही ऑलवेज एक्सपेक्ट दिस टू बी डन टुगेदर. मेजॉरिटी ऑफ सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स इन अ पर्टिकुलर एरिया ऑफ बिजनेस प्रोवाइड सिमिलर बंडल ऑफ सर्विस. ये भी हो सकता है. जैसे कि फॉर एग्जांपल bundle of services of catering on board and services of transport by air is a bundle offered by majority of airlines. ज्यादातर सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स इन दो चीजों को जो दो सप्लाईज को साथ साथ प्रोवाइड करते हैं नहीं. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल एयरलाइंस है. एयरलाइंस जो है अपनी एयर टिकट में nowadays this has also changed a lot because of cost cutting. Otherwise usually पहले meal used to be a part of the ticket. जनरली आपका मील साथ में इंक्लूड होता था. तो अगर मान लीजिए सारे सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स ऐसा ही कर रहे हैं, केस ऐसा होना शुरू हो जाए कि सारे सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स एयर टिकट में मील को इंक्लूड करके ही देंगे, देन इट बिकम्स नेचुरली बंडल्ड और फिर हम उसको इन ऑर्डिनरी कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस मानेंगे. बट अभी भी इट्स अ जनरल प्रैक्टिस. आप देखोगे मेजॉरिटी ऑफ एयरलाइंस दे इट्स मतलब इफ इट इज इंक्लूडेड इन पार्ट ऑफ योर टिकट वैल्यू ऑफ टिकट, then we take it to be a composite supply जो generally इकट्ठे दी जाती है. naturally bundled in ordinary course of business मतलब generally business जो है उसको साथ में ही देखता है. तो mobile phone is always sold with battery. This is a composite supply. So if we have to see that whether the services are naturally bundled or not, then if the nature of service is that one is main service and another service is incidental or ancillary, which helps in better enjoyment of the main service, then it will be treated as service bundled in ordinary course of business. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर आपको लगता है कि आपकी मेन सर्विस को बेटर enjoy करने के लिए आपको एंसिलरी सर्विस चाहिए ही चाहिए, you need to have that ancillary service to enjoy the main product in a main supply in a better manner. For example, the hotel services. If you have hotel accommodation services and you are getting breakfast along with it, then it is a composite supply, because generally you feel that if you are getting complimentary breakfast or dinner, that leads to better enjoyment of your accommodation experience, and usually the uh, service providers are doing that, then it will become a naturally bundled, or it will become a composite supply. So some examples are: a stay in hotel is often combined with provision of breakfast and dinner. Such a service is naturally bundled. ये तो simple example है जो हम generally देखते हैं. ऐसे ही जैसे आपने कोई, if you have sold a product and you are taking the transport as well as you are giving the insurance also to the person, because it's an not X works, the delivery is at the buyer's premises. So whatever extra services you are providing, that will also get clubbed in the value of the product, but the main product supply will be supply of goods. We'll take that example again. So the elements are naturally advertised as a package. जैसे generally आपको बताया जाता है कि आपने, for example, this hotel services, if they are being advertised as कि इसमें free breakfast है, free dinner है, तो एक पैकेज की तरह ही उसको hotel services का जो पैकेज है, that generally comes with breakfast and dinner. Different elements are not, and if different elements are not available separately, these are other indicators. That means all of them should not be present. Sometimes some elements are not available independently. कुछ चीजें ऐसी हैं जो साथ साथ ही सप्लाई की जाती हैं. Then they will be considered as composite supply. They are not individually available altogether. Different elements are integral to the overall supply. So अगर आपने एक सप्लाई को हटाया तो दूसरी सप्लाई पे इफेक्ट होगा. जैसे कि हमने मोबाइल और बैटरी का एग्जांपल किया था कि if I remove the battery from the mobile phone and I start selling it separately, then the overall functioning of the mobile phone will be affected. It will not function at all. So this is also one of the criteria. These are the illustrative independent indicators. ऐसा नहीं है मतलब सारी, these are not the conditions for composite supply, but these are the indicators कि अगर इनमें से कुछ भी आपको दिखता है तो आपको एक बार ये जरूर क्लिक करना चाहिए कि कहीं ये composite supply तो नहीं है. आप suppose you are taking the educational services. Now you have taken an admission to a school and it's a boarding school. So you are staying in the boarding and you are studying in that particular school. These two services are naturally bundled. So it's a practice that the school provides the accommodation also, and it charges. It is giving you the entire service as a package. So then that question will be again a different question, whether this entire service will be exempt or not, that we will do separately. But this becomes a composite service, that you are studying in a school and you are getting boarding also. But there is no straitjacket formula to determine whether a service is naturally bundled. Each case has to be individually examined. Composite mixed supply में आप और या individual supplies के लिए you have to have some practice, then only you will be able to see. Kuldeep is asking, ICAI providing textbook is also composite supply. If in fact you can say that, Kuldeep. Yeah, this is you have applied your mind in the correct direction, because you have been charged at one place at the time of registration, and these textbooks are provided to you as part of your registration fee only. So this is a composite supply, and I would say कि आपने बहुत अच्छा मतलब mind apply किया इस चीज के ऊपर. Can packaging service? Yes, packaging service along with product can be a composite supply. It can be treated as incidental supply also, but अगर आप packaging के साथ ही product हमेशा sell करते हो, for example laptops, now they have a special kind of packaging. Suppose कुछ laptops की कुछ delicate products की जैसे packaging होती है, your glass products, they have to be packaged in a particular way, so that if they are always given in that packaging, then packaging can be a composite supply. That means if installment is there, this was your earlier query, Harsh. I think I missed that query, your query. No, acha, now it's not that. Yes, yesterday when I tried to give feedback, submit option was not working after filling all questions. Oh, Harsh, your again this feedback is not working. I have to check it, and don't worry, I will get it resolved within half an hour or so. So you all can fill the feedback after that. Definitely feedback is important for us. Mobile and charger in this, yes. Which is the principal supply? You tell me, Mohan Raj, which will be the principal supply? fragile items package, you said it correctly. Mobile and charger, mobile will be the primary service because आप मोबाइल लेने गए थे, चार्जर आपको उसके साथ. अच्छा अनुभव, you were also not able to fill the feedback form. That means it's not working again. So I have to get it corrected. But please fill it for yesterday also and for tomorrow also separately. Give me the feedback. मोबाइल, कुलदीप यू आर राइट कि मोबाइल और चार्जर में क्या प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई है, मोबाइल जो प्रीडोमिनेंट नेचर है. मुझे मोबाइल फोन चाहिए था, इसीलिए मैंने उसके साथ साथ बैटरी भी ली. बट ऐसा नहीं था मैं बैटरी खरीदने गई थी तो मोबाइल साथ में मिल गया, ऐसा नहीं है. मेनली प्राइमरी पर्पस क्या है आपका उस पर्टिकुलर चीज का. पोशाक मैन्युफैक्चरर्स एंटर्स इनटू अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विद चीकू लिमिटेड for supply of ready-made shirts packaged in designer boxes at Chiku Limited's outlet. तो ये जो शर्ट्स हैं इनके लिए एक बड़ा डिजाइनर आउट पैकेजिंग हमने रखी हुई है. फिर उन्होंने बोला कि हम आपको जो है इंश्योरेंस भी देंगे, ट्रांजिट इंश्योरेंस भी देंगे, और हम सारा पैकेजिंग मटेरियल, ट्रांसपोर्ट इंश्योरेंस सब हम आपको अरेंज करके देंगे. तो ट्रांसपोर्ट भी हमारा है, पैकिंग भी हमारी है और इंश्योरेंस भी हमारी है. ये सब कुछ हम अपने सप्लायर्स सॉरी रिसिपिएंट्स को देते हैं. So therefore all these supplies are composite supply. लेकिन principal supply क्या है? Supply of shirt. क्योंकि आप शर्ट लेने गए थे, उसके साथ साथ आपको उसकी पैकेजिंग भी मिल गई, उसका ट्रांसपोर्टेशन भी हो गया, उसका इंश्योरेंस भी हो गया. प्राइमरी पर्पस क्या था? परचेज ऑफ शर्ट. ओके. Charger is sold separate. You are right, Mohan Raj. Acha, mobile and charger you had given the example. Yes, that's what I told you. Because of some cost cutting initiative, now these days mobile phone operators, sorry, suppliers, they don't give the charger as a package. They generally provide charger separately. But earlier, I would say maybe 10, 8 to 10 years back, charger used to be a part of the mobile. When we used to purchase mobile phone, we used to get the charger also. Okay. So, Anubhav, your feedback form is not being submitted. They say they are helping the environment. No, I will get it corrected. Don't worry. CA kit is composite supply, Nosheen. You are right. Principal supply is CA kit. CA kit, which you're talking about the convocation where you get the CA kit. So that can also be considered if you're getting. I don't have an idea. I didn't have the convocation, but whatever products you get in the CA kit, that will be a composite supply. No, that will be a composite supply. I have to see. Sorry, CA kit. If you have different products combined at one place, suppose you in a kit you have one folder, one pen, diary, paper, brochure. Then all these are different products. In normal course of business, they are not combined. I am giving you as a gift, or I am giving you as a recognition of your achievement, but then it becomes a mixed supply because they are unrelated products. मैंने कोई एक प्रोडक्ट यहाँ से उठाया, एक प्रोडक्ट यहाँ से उठाया, एक बॉक्स में डाल दिया, तो वो कॉम्पोजिट नहीं हो जाता. कॉम्पोजिट मतलब ऑर्डिनरी कोर्स ऑफ बिजनेस में वो साथ में ही दिए जाते हैं. उनको एक साथ दे नीड टू वर्क अलॉन्ग विद ईच अदर. मतलब उनको एक दूसरे की मेन सप्लाई को कुछ हेल्प करना चाहिए. तो यहाँ पे अगर मैं किट की बात करूँ तो मेन सप्लाई कुछ नहीं होगा नौशीन. देयर विल बी नथिंग कॉल्ड मेन सप्लाई हियर. मोहनराज, आज भी क्विज नहीं हो पाएगा. वील ट्राई टू कीप द क्विज इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास क्योंकि कॉन्सेप्ट कवर करने में टाइम लग रहा है. एंड आई वांट टू कीप रिजॉल्व द क्वेरीज आल्सो. इनफैक्ट एक क्वेरी अभी मुझसे किसी ने पहले पूछी थी कि सप्लाई ऑफ सॉफ्टवेयर सब्सक्रिप्शन फॉर अ ईयर, that will also come in transfer, that will also come in that will also come in the सर्विसेज ऑल्सो. सर्विसेज ओनली जो आपने बोला था कि सब्सक्रिप्शन अगर हम ले रहे हैं फॉर अ लिमिटेड पीरियड, इफ यू आर टेकिंग अ सब्सक्रिप्शन, देन दैट विल ऑल्सो कम इन दी सॉफ्टवेयर सर्विसेज. कैरियज बैग इज ऑल्सो चार्ज. ये स्टेफी यू आर राइट. तो कैरियज बैग ही जैसे अगर आप कुछ परचेज करने जाते हो तो सेपरेटली चार्ज होता है. दैट हैज बिकम अ बिजनेस प्रैक्टिस, बट स्टिल अभी भी हम कैरी बैग को मान लेते हैं कि हाँ इट इज अ कॉम्पोजिट सप्लाई बिकॉज अभी भी मेजोरिटी ऑफ सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स आर प्रोवाइडिंग इट अलॉन्ग विद दैट. So products must complement with each other in ordinary course of business. Kuldeep, you are right. That is the point. Lingaraju is saying feedback. Okay, you submitted feedback form today morning. So how come is it not working for few? But I will get it corrected if it is there. Hotstar, free Hotstar in case of JioCard. Huh? This is also an example. So JioCard is the principal supply here. Shraddha, regarding tomorrow's lecture, you will be informed that, but it is as per schedule, it is there. We will inform you about that. On the portal itself, BOS Knowledge portal itself, information will come. So then again, next example is if you are buying a television set and a mandatory warranty and maintenance contract is there, then that will be considered as mixed supply. और इसमें principal supply क्या होगा? Supply of television, because television लिया तभी तो warranty ली, तभी maintenance ली, तो सिर्फ maintenance cannot be the principal supply, warranty cannot be the main supply. लैपटॉप, अगर आपने लैपटॉप बैग में आपको मिला है तो अब यहाँ पर आप देख रहे होंगे ये 52 और 4000 जो है ये सिर्फ इलस्ट्रेटिव है, इट इज ओनली, इट्स नॉट द एक्चुअल इनवॉइस, इज जस्ट टू इलस्ट्रेट कि एक्चुअल कॉस्ट तो इनकी 52 और 4000 थी, बट वी हैव चार्ज 55,000 फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर ट्रांजेक्शन. रति कंप्यूटर्स ने लैपटॉप अलॉन्ग विद लैपटॉप बैग दिया. सो दिस इज अ कॉम्पोजिट सप्लाई, बिकॉज लैपटॉप जनरली आप लैपटॉप ऐसे लैपटॉप हाथ में नहीं अगर आप देते हो, आपका एज अ बिजनेस प्रैक्टिस यू ऑलवेज प्रोवाइड लैपटॉप विद लैपटॉप बैग ऑल्सो यू नो इट हेल्प्स इन कैरिंग द लैपटॉप. तो वो मेन सप्लाई को कहीं ना कहीं सब्सटैंशिएट कर रहा है, मेन सप्लाई को कहीं ना कहीं फैसिलिटेट कर रहा है. देन इट इज अ कॉम्पोजिट सप्लाई. लेकिन जो उसमें प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई रहेगी वो अभी भी लैपटॉप ही रहेगी. ओके, सो रेट जो है, जो प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई का रेट है, अगर लैपटॉप का रेट 20, लैपटॉप बैग का 28% है और लैपटॉप का 18% है, तो 55,000 पे हम रेट किसका लगाएंगे? लैपटॉप का, जो कि 18% है. तो ये 4,000 पे भी रेट 18% ही चार्ज होगा. परमानेंट ट्रांसफर ऑफ इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी, नहीं, permanent transfer will not come, Mohanraj, in 5C. Permanent transfer will not come in 5C. That will not be supply of services. That will be in fact supply of goods. ये प्रिंटिंग इंडस्ट्री का एक केस है. इसको हम, इसमें आप डोंट गो वट एवर इज रिटन, आई विल जस्ट एक्सप्लेन यू टू यू इन सिंपल वर्ड्स. प्रिंटिंग इंडस्ट्री में क्या होता है, अगर आपने कोई बुक प्रिंट करानी है, इफ यू हैव टू गेट अ बुक प्रिंटेड, व्हाट वी डू इज वी गिव द कंटेंट टू द प्रिंटर. हमने प्रिंटर को कंटेंट दिया, हम जैसे अपनी टैक्सेशन बुक्स की बात करते हैं, सो वी हैव गिवन द एंटायर कंटेंट, बाइंडर मतलब सॉफ्ट कॉपी ऑफ द कंटेंट टू द प्रिंटर. हमने प्रिंटर को बोला आप अपना पेपर लगाना और अपने पेपर से ये बुक प्रिंट करके हमें दे दो. सो देन इन दैट केस इट इज अ कॉम्पोजिट सप्लाई फॉर द प्रिंटर. प्रिंटर ने हमें क्या किया, प्रिंटिंग भी करी और पेपर भी दिया. ठीक है. सो देर आर टू टाइप्स ऑफ सर्विसेज विच द प्रिंटर इज प्रोवाइडिंग, प्रिंटिंग प्लस पेपर. तो ये तो समझ में आ गया कि जो प्रिंटर है वो जनरली कॉम्पोजिट सप्लाई देता है, यानी टू टाइप्स ऑफ सर्विसेज कंबाइंड टुगेदर. अब क्वेश्चन अरोज की विच इज द प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई. कोई बोलेगा प्रिंटिंग ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि प्रिंटिंग ना होती तो पेपर का हम क्या करते, हमें तो प्रिंटिंग चाहिए थी. लेकिन कोई बोलेगा नहीं, मुझे तो पेपर चाहिए था. तो ये डिफरेंट सिचुएशंस में डिफरेंट होता है, मतलब डिफरेंट सिचुएशंस में, मतलब इट हैज टू बेसिक क्लैरिफिकेशंस ऑन दिस. फर्स्ट इज, जैसे द एग्जांपल व्हिच वी टुक, दैट वी हैव गिवन द कंटेंट ऑफ अ बुक or the technical content. Suppose it's a book, it's a pamphlet, some other examples are also given है. कोई ब्रोशर आपने बनवाना है या एनुअल रिपोर्ट प्रिंट हो रही है, सो यू हैव गिवन योर एनुअल रिपोर्ट टू द प्रिंटर एंड यू हैव आस्क्ड हिम टू प्रिंट ऑन हिज ओन पेपर. तो ये कॉम्पोजिट सप्लाई है, क्योंकि दो तरह की चीजें इन्वॉल्व है, सर्विस भी है, गुड्स भी है. प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई इस केस में क्या होगा, सप्लाई ऑफ प्रिंटिंग. This example I have to see, Mohanraj, but these days, Mohanraj, mobile phones are generally charged at 18% only. Recently, I bought one, I think it was not charged at 28%. You need to check the rate on the mobile phone. Generally, mobile rates of taxes, we are not, we generally don't refer. Anubhav has given the rate for printing. Yes, Anubhav. So it is a printing service. Sorry, this is printing service per se, क्योंकि यहाँ पे printing ज्यादा important है. आदित्य इज आस्किंग 56,000 का 55,000 कैसे कर दिया, वो हमने इसलिए किया आदित्य, because actual this is that's what I told, this is not the invoice per se, this is not invoice, this is actually the description of the goods which we were supplying. Laptop cost was 50, we generally sell laptop for 52,000, laptop bag separately was for 4,000, but when we make it, we supplied it together, we supplied it for 55,000. तो ये this plus this नहीं है. This is not an invoice. Actually, to give it a pictorial form, this was shown as invoice. So I hope this clears your doubt. हाँ, लिंगराजू, पेपर, इस केस में पेपर इज नॉट द मेन सप्लाई. वाई? बिकॉज हमने अपना कंटेंट दे दिया, कंटेंट वाज मेन. आपने कोई बुक, पैम्फलेट या एनुअल रिपोर्ट जब प्रिंट कराते हो, तो वहां पे कंटेंट जो सप्लायर ने दिया है, दैट सॉरी पब्लिशर ने दिया है, दैट इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट. तो पेपर इज द एंसिलरी सर्विस and printing is the primary service. This is clarified by the सर्कुलर, दिस इज द प्रीडोमिनेंट सर्विस। हाँ, 1,000 का डिस्काउंट मिल गया एक्चुअली कुलदीप। देन सेकेंड इज, अगर आप एक दूसरा केस देखते हैं, यू वांट टू गेट सम एनवेलप्स और लेटर कार्ड्स और बॉक्सेस, टिश्यू पेपर्स, नैपकिन्स, वॉलपेपर्स कुछ आपने बनवाने हैं, और उसके लिए आपने अपना डिजाइन खुद से दे दिया। आपको, यू आर अ रेस्टोरेंट सर्विस ओनर एंड ऑन योर टिश्यू पेपर यू वांट टू गेट एम्बोस्ड योर लोगो, और आपने बुक्स, सॉरी बॉक्सेस, योर पैकिंग बॉक्सेस यू वांट टू हैव योर ब्रांड नेम ऑन दैट, or wallpapers में you want to give your own design. So any logo, any design has to be printed on something, but the main point is the paper cost is more. हल्का सा बस डिजाइन आपने दिया, बट जो पेपर की कॉस्ट है, क्योंकि ये जो चीजें हैं यहाँ पे जो पेपर इन्वॉल्व होता है, दैट इज अ, यू कैन से हाई क्वालिटी पेपर, और द कॉस्ट ऑफ पेपर इज मोर, बट कॉस्ट इज नॉट एक्चुअली द क्राइटेरिया। वही मैंने बोला कि अब इसको आप ये नहीं मान सकते कि ओनली कॉस्ट हैज डिसाइडेड विच इज प्रीडोमिनेंट। हियर द मेन प्रीडोमिनेंट फैक्टर इज द this envelope or the letter cards which you are using, or the boxes, tissue papers. So here you have given just a logo to print on that. So that will come under the supply of goods. So here this paper which we are using for making these envelopes or letter cards or printed boxes, that is the predominant supply. Okay. So this was the clarification regarding printing industry. Another clarification is there, food supply to inpatients. Inpatients matlab those patients who are admitted in the hospital. They are generally provided food by the hospital. Now this is also a composite supply, and where the primary principal supply is not supply of food but the healthcare service. Obviously ये तो सबको पता है कि आप वहाँ खाना खाने तो जा नहीं रहे हो हॉस्पिटल में. You are going for getting treatment done. वहां क्योंकि you are staying there, you want, the doctor want you to have a healthy and nourished food, so that is why he is giving you food. He has asked his this kitchen to provide food to you. So food supplied to inpatients is a composite supply, and the primary supply is healthcare service. Retreading of tires, again a clarification is there. Retreading मतलब जो उसके ऊपर टायर के ऊपर जो रबड़ होती है उसको दोबारा लगाना. So in case of retreading of tires, the predominant element is retreading. Retreading जो आप कर रहे हो, जो when the rubber which you are applying, so you are taking rubber and you are applying on it. So that is the main service. This process of retreading or applying the rubber is the principal supply. और जो अब उसके लिए आपको रबर तो लानी पड़ेगी अगर आपको ये रबर दोबारा से लगानी है. So that rubber is the ancillary service. दोनों चीजें आ गई यहाँ पर, सर्विस भी आ गई और गुड्स भी आ गए. सर्विस रीट्रेडिंग की है और गुड्स जो है वो रबर की फॉर्म में है. तो सर्कुलर हैज क्लैरिफाइड दैट द retreaded, in case of the retreading of tires, predominant supply is the process of retreading. लेकिन अगर मान लो आपने, so you are getting your tires retreaded, you gave your old tires and you said इसके ऊपर से जो you change the rubber and you replace it with the new rubber, then in that case that service of retreading, service of changing the rubber is the primary service, and the rubber which you are using for retreading is an ancillary service. Now take another case. You have given your old tire which was totally worn out and you have taken a new retreaded tire. This is actually exchange, and or here you will say if you're buying the new retreaded tire per se, then that will be only supply of goods. Because यहाँ पे तो आपने पूरा नया टायर ही खरीद लिया, so that is not a service. Then we come to mixed supply. Mixed supply में क्या होता है कि it is, first of all, it should not be a composite supply. Something which is not a composite supply, that means which is not naturally bundled in ordinary course of business. Ancillary supply का मतलब होता है नौशीन secondary supply या जो related supply है. So as I said कि two supplies are involved in composite supply. So one is predominant or principal supply. Other supplies are ancillary supplies or secondary supplies. Mixed supply का क्या मतलब होता है? Mixed supply में there are two or more individual supplies or any combination thereof made in conjunction with each other for a single price, and they do not constitute composite supply. This sentence which they have used, that it does not constitute composite supply, it actually provides you an idea that this should not be naturally bundled in ordinary course of business, these supplies. यानी अगर हम television ke sath if we are providing repair service or warranty we are providing, then that is an associated service. So it should not be like that. It should be a completely separate service which do not have any relation with each other. They are not naturally bundled in ordinary course of business. Only thing is that they have been supplied together, and the most important condition is single price. One price should have been charged for all the goods. In case of composite supply, you can have a breakup also. Sometimes it is possible that you will be having separate prices, but they have been all clubbed and you have been charged one single price. But in case of composite supply, it is not important or it is not necessary that you should know only one price. आपको individual supplies का price पता होगा और आप उसमें same rate of the principal supply you will apply and you will charge GST. But in case of mixed supply, only one price will be charged. Let us see an example, then we'll get to see it. House is given on rent through a single rent deed. अब एक फ्लोर रेजिडेंस के लिए यूज हो रहा है, एक फ्लोर प्रिंटिंग प्रेस के लिए यूज हो रहा है, आपको लमसम बोल दिया गया कि आप 2 लाख पर मंथ दे देंगे. So this is a single price which has been charged for residence and for printing press. एंड रेजिडेंस और प्रिंटिंग प्रेस ऐसा कुछ नहीं है ना कि अगर आप रेजिडेंस के लिए आप यू आर टेकिंग अ हाउस ऑन रेंट फॉर रेजिडेंस पर्पस और वन फ्लोर ऑन रेंट, देन automatically or by default as a business practice you get residence another floor for residence. That is not nowhere related to each other. These two services are nowhere related to each other. So that is why these are mixed supplies, क्योंकि उसमें दो conditions fulfill हुई. They are not composite supply, single price is being charged. Not composite supply means they are not related to each other. So first of all you have to rule out that supply is a composite supply. Mixed supply कब बनेगा, पहले rule out कर दो कि ये composite supply नहीं है. Then that means transaction consists of supplies which are not naturally bundled. जब आपने बोला composite नहीं है तो naturally bundled तो ये नहीं है in ordinary course of business. उसके बाद आप mixed supply check करना शुरू करोगे. तो सबसे पहले जब भी आप more than one supply देखोगे, you will always try to first of all see whether it is mixed supply. If not, then whether sorry I am my slip of tongue. First of all, you have to check whether it is a composite supply. If it is not a composite supply, then you have to see whether it is a mixed supply. And if it is not a mixed supply also, then it will be an individual supply of all the supplies. We will see that example also. So आपने देखा ये composite तो नहीं है, ठीक है, composite नहीं था, that means naturally bundled नहीं था. Then you charge the single price. अब single price होते ही ये mix बन जाएगा, क्योंकि ये नहीं होना चाहिए और ये होना चाहिए. It should not be a composite supply, but it should have a single price. अगर ये दोनों conditions fulfill हो जाती हैं तो आप उसको mixed supply मानोगे. And then, so let us take another example. A supply of package consisting of canned food, sweets, chocolates, cakes, dry fruits, aerated drinks, fruit juices. हमने एक gift pack बना लिया. सब पे अलग अलग रेट सपोज लगता है. किसी पे 6% है, किसी पे 12% है, किसी पे 18% है, किसी पे 5% रेट लग रहा है. सो दिस इज अ मिक्स सप्लाई. अभी मिक्स सप्लाई में ये भी देखेंगे कि क्या रेट हम लेंगे. कॉम्पोजिट में वेरी क्लियर प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई का रेट ढूंढो और लगा लो. अब यहाँ पे तो कोई भी प्रिंसिपल सप्लाई नहीं है, हमने सब कुछ मिक्स कर दिया, बस एक प्राइस चार्ज किया है. सो व्हाट विल बी द रेट विच विल बी अप्लाइड? रेट विल बी द रेट of that supply which attracts the highest rate. तो सबसे बड़े वाला सबसे highest rate ले लो. Easiest way है, गवर्नमेंट को भी रेवेन्यू अच्छा मिल जाएगा, they will also not have an issue. और आप भी इस तरह से क्लबिंग, मतलब ये this can also be a way to club to reduce the rate. तो वो कहते हैं सबसे हाईएस्ट वाला रेट हम ले लेंगे. तो सपोज आपने एक गिफ्ट हैम्पर बनवाया, 1000 किट्स बनवाई श्रृंगार एंटरप्राइजेस ने, और उसमें क्या है, एक शैम्पू है, एक फेस वॉश है और एक काजल पेंसिल है. सबके ऊपर अलग अलग रेट्स लग रहे हैं. किसी पे 28% है. सो देयर आर 3 रेट्स, 28%, 18% एंड 12% रेट्स विच आर एप्लीकेबल ऑन दिस शैम्पू, फेस वॉश एंड काजल पेंसिल. नाउ इज इट ऑलवेज अ प्रैक्टिस कि शैम्पू के साथ फेस वॉश मिलेगा, या फेस वॉश के साथ काजल पेंसिल मिलेगी, या इन तीनों में से कोई भी आर दे रिलेटेड इन एनी वे विद ईच अदर? Are they composite supply? No, they are not composite supply. तो पहला step तो यही होता है, we see whether it is a composite supply or not. So it is not a composite supply. Then we check whether a single price is being charged. So if we see this example, हमने बोला 1000 किट्स है at ₹50 each. तो हर किट के लिए हमें ₹50 यानी कि सिंगल प्राइस चार्ज किया जा रहा है. So these two conditions are satisfied, which makes it a mixed supply. Since it is a mixed supply, सो रेट कौन सा लगेगा? जो सबसे हाईएस्ट रेट है, यानी कि 28%. तो अब हम जो ₹50 का हमारा जो गिफ्ट पैक का रेट है, उस पर हम ₹50 के ऊपर 28% चार्ज करेंगे. We'll not separate the items. This is what mixed supply is all about. So मिक्स सप्लाई भी समझ आ गया. आई होप आपको. नोबडी हैज एनी डाउट आई सपोज. लेट अस कम टू द नेक्स्ट कॉन्सेप्ट कि अगर मिक्स्ड भी नहीं है, यानी सिंगल प्राइस भी चार्ज नहीं हो रहा, दे आर नॉट रिलेटेड टू ईच अदर बट अ सिंगल प्राइस इज ऑल्सो नॉट चार्ज, तभी वो मिक्स में भी फॉल नहीं करेगा, क्योंकि कॉम्पोजिट तो नहीं है, रूल आउट हो गया. कॉम्पोजिट रूल आउट करने के बाद हम नेक्स्ट स्टेप देखते हैं कि सिंगल प्राइस चार्ज हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा. अगर किसी केस में सिंगल प्राइस भी चार्ज नहीं हो रहा है, सो वेयर ट्रांजेक्शन इन्वॉल्व्स मोर देन वन सप्लाई and it is neither a composite supply nor a mixed supply. वो रूल आउट करने के लिए आप कैसे देखते हो? सबसे पहले you just test composite supply. It is not a composite supply, plus it does not have a single price being charged, so it is not a mixed supply also. So then in case, that means separate consideration is being charged for each of the supplies, and it is not a composite supply also, then individual supplies will be charged at the individual rates which are applicable on that particular supply. Let us take an example. For example, जो सर्विसिंग ऑफ कार्स है, ये एक क्लैरिफिकेशन है. दिस इज अ क्लैरिफिकेशन. इसमें थोड़ा सा सम एक्सपर्ट्स हैव अ डाउट. इनफैक्ट आई विल टेक अनदर एग्जांपल बिकॉज दिस माइट कंफ्यूज यू, because there are two views regarding that clarification. We'll take simple example. Damdam Electronics has sold following electronic items to Akbar retail store. So refrigerator, स्टेबलाइजर एक हमने दिया, इसको आप रेफ्रिजरेटर भी मत मानो, इट्स अ सिंपल स्टेबलाइजर. देन एलईडी टेलीविजन, स्प्लिट एयर कंडीशनर एंड स्टेबलाइजर्स आर गिवन टू यू. आप रेफ्रिजरेटर के मान भी लोगे तो भी कोई इशू नहीं है इसके अंदर. सो यू हैव टेकन दीज प्रोडक्ट्स एंड सेपरेट रेट्स आर गिवन इन द इनवॉइस. नाउ इन दिस केस, it is not always a practice that refrigerator has to be sold with television, has to be, or they have to be sold with the stabilizer. Stabilizer is a separate thing, and it's as a business practice you are not giving stabilizers every time. और साथ में split air condition लेना भी कोई separate, that is also not a business practice. So in ordinary course of business, refrigerator, stabilizer, television, air conditioners, they are not naturally bundled. So this is not a composite supply. Plus, Damdam Electronics has issued a single invoice but indicating price of each of the items separately. So single invoice तो है, but there is no single price. That means single price has not been charged. So पहले हमने rule out किया composite supply कि it is not a composite supply because the supplies are not related to each other. Then we say कि it's a single price is not being charged. So different prices, individual prices are being charged. So it is not a mixed supply also. So what is it? It is an individual supply of products where separate rates have been charged. I had thought to conduct the GST Titan quiz. Still, my schedule 3 has been left. Yes, Kuldeep, I think you had given answer for this particular. So 28% would be there if it is a mixed supply. But यहाँ पर Kuldeep, it's not a mixed supply. There is only a one invoice which is being issued, but उस invoice में सारे prices अलग-अलग लिखे हैं. Mixed supply के case में there should be single price which should be charged. That means it should not be the case that you have charged different, different prices for different products. You have shown them and still you can say that it's a mixed supply. No, you should charge only one price. अगर आप इसके लिए बोलते कि हमने इसके लिए सिर्फ this whole package is for 2 lakh rupees, then it could have been mixed supply. But here it is not so. We are saying indicating price of each of the items separately. So therefore, it is a individual supply of all these items. Okay. So with this, we have completed mixed and composite supply also. We have completed schedule 1, schedule 3. Only small portion of schedule 3 is left. So that we will we'll complete in the next class. And we will have a GST Titan quiz at the end of the class. For approximately 25 to 30 minutes, we'll have that quiz. So you go back home, read and revise the entire concept of supply, schedule 1, 2, parameters of supply, and all the and we'll try to attempt some questions also if possible. But at least you should revise whatever we have done. Mixed and composite supply is also clear to you. No, Riddhiben, I think schedule 3, you will not have the energy to do that, I suppose, today, because already 3 hours have been increased. As time increases, participant decrease. Mohanraj, that inverse relationship is there because you all are human beings. You get tired also. Yes. So Anubhav, next class is, I know that it is for charge, but in the beginning, we'll take half an hour to complete the schedule 3 point. Then we'll start with charge chapter. So that is not an issue. Don't worry. So actually, if we want to cover everything comprehensively, Anubhav, you are in a position to do, but I don't know whether others are do. And as per my office practices, I can't extend it beyond that. So already it's been 3 hours that we have conducted the class. There was a class in the morning also. That I understood that it's good that you all are so energetic and you are ready to do the topic. But only schedule 3 is left. But I can assure you, I will not leave anything. In your supply chapter is complete except schedule 3, and that will not take much time. It has 8 entries which we have to do. 2 entries are there at the final level, so they are not at the intermediate level. Quickly share the feedback of this class, and I will get the feedback portal corrected. Maybe within an hour it will be corrected. So I request all of you to please share the feedback. Please share the feedback. In fact, uh, if you are finding, I just want to know in the chat box first thing. Acha, Anubhav, what was left? And you can tell me. I will see what is left, but otherwise, these related person concept I have covered, and anything else which is left that will be covered along with cascading. Okay, cascading effect table of chapter 1. Definitely. Okay, Nausheen. So you have to offer okay, you have to offer namaz, so time is there. Yes, yes. So that is why I don't want to stretch it further. But whatever is left, that will be covered. Don't worry. I remember that table which you are telling illustration. These are two illustrations of chapter 1. Yes, yes, Prerna. I remember chapter 1, two illustrations, illustration 1 and 2. That is left. In fact, that is there in my that is there in my slides, but I generally don't get time to cover it. So anyhow, these two things which are left, they will be covered in the next classes. So I can assure you this much that that will not be left. Nothing will be left. That I have not, I will not, something which I have not taught you, that will not be there. That will be completed. But for now, we have to convene the class. नहीं अनुभव, let's see if it is possible. I will also do, but ये topics जो which I was continuing, जो भी उसमें बचा है, I will be completing. And I want to tell you all कि in all the classes we'll be there at the end with you. So don't worry, ऐसा नहीं है. आपको जो भी कुछ हमसे पूछना है, if anything we can add to the class, that will also be done. So don't feel that मतलब this association is not ending here. It will go a long way. Abhi I have one more small topic to complete, but that I will complete. Don't worry. I will complete during other classes. Or quickly in the chat box, I want to know one thing from all of you, whether you find the space, because you are finding the space a bit slow, or you have any other suggestion. I want to know. You are finding the class. हाँ, अनुभव, फीडबैक फॉर्म के लिए आप सिर्फ 1 घंटा वेट कर लीजिए. आई विल गेट इट करेक्टेड फ्रॉम द टेक्निकल पर्सन, बिकॉज जो भी इशू है दैट आई विल डेफिनेटली. अनुभव, इफ यू आर यू देयर इन द व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप, इंटरमीडिएट व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप, प्लीज लेट मी नो. Okay, so that information we'll share in the WhatsApp group. That feedback form is now working and you all can share the feedback. Those who are there with us in the YouTube, I request them also to share the feedback if you find the class useful. And you know how to fill that feedback form. You have to go to the BOS Knowledge Portal and you have to select today's class and yesterday's class, and you will be able to fill the feedback. So I want feedback as well as a feedback on the pace of the class or the speed of the class also. So just a quick feedback from all of you and then we'll convene the class. Because your questions, your feedback actually energizes us and it motivates us. So Kuldeep, you find the class interesting. Thank you, Kuldeep. Nausheen is saying, thank you so much, ma'am. Your way of teaching and connection with students are superb. It means a lot for us. Thank you, Nausheen. Same is for me also, because I told you I get so much energy when I interact with you all. Ma'am, you will be taking up sums also. Shraddha, I will be taking sums in the, though I have tried to cover some of the questions through examples, I have covered a lot many concepts. But yes, the way of answering the questions and some few questions also I will be taking. Don't worry. ओके, लिंगराजू सिंह राइटली पेस्ड सेशन. अभी फीडबैक भरना बहुत सारा पेंडिंग हो गया है. एडिशनल बर्डन. हाँ, सो यू आर फाइंडिंग इट बर्डन, but I hope ki if you really enjoyed the class, then you should fill the feedback. Mohan Raj says, for earlier days of tax, this phase is good, ma'am, but it will be best if you just clear doubts and not repeat the same again. Okay. So you just want that ki thoda doubt clearing mein we can be more fast, I suppose, है ना? बहुत सारा पहले वाला बाकी था फीडबैक देना, उसके लिए भी, बट बैक डेटेड फीडबैक. So if you give the feedback, I will be thankful to you all. Harsh Mishra is saying, as a teacher, if you sit at a place for 3 hours and speak too much, then as a student, we should also sit because classes are for our benefit. Very true, Harsh, and I appreciate your view. Anubhav, it will be working. I told you, I will put the message in the WhatsApp group, but definitely within 1 hour it will start working. So I'm giving an outer limit of 1 hour. Thank you, Satish. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anubhav. And Kabyajit is saying, yesterday you submitted form, Kabyajit. Thank you so much. Whatever feedback you are giving, I just want the feedback, because anything you want to improve, anything you feel that can be changed, that will help me in changing also. Na? Like Mohan Raj said that queries can be solved a bit quickly. Quiz is time consuming, class pace is good. Quiz time, okay. So Praveen Kumar is saying quiz is time consuming. In fact, we can do one thing, we can have separate sessions for quiz also if possible. Otherwise, after the class, just for a very small time period, we'll have the quiz, because that actually energizes you, what I feel. So Mohan Raj is saying it will be helpful if you give theory notes. That I have to think, Mohan Raj. Thank you, Prerna. Shraddha, you have the perfect pace in lecture delivery and are patient in answering all the queries. Thank you, Shraddha. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anubhav. Nausheen, please arrange your video like you have done. Starting time. Okay. Um, Arrange video means you are saying that video. When I explained you through video, Nausheen, is it so? Then I will definitely make some of those such type of videos if it is possible, or something else you want to say. So with this, we come to an end of the session, but I again request you all to fill the feedback to let us know what can be improved, that can be done better, and what is being done good. That also we should know. Both the things are important. So, okay, my PPT and me in one frame. Okay, okay. Today, I did. Okay, that was a new initiative which we took today, but it was not clear to some of the students. So that is why we changed it, Nausheen. So that was the issue. Okay. Good day, Anubhav. Good day, everyone. Thank you for the session. Thank you so much. Saransh does not have digital notes, or what do you want to say? You want to put something in Saransh? Yes, you have to take a printout, Mohan Raj. So you are teaching how we need to work as a CA. Thank you, Kuldeep. So you have to stretch a lot and you have to strain a lot to become a CA, and that is what I'm teaching you. Thank you, Deepika. So with this, we come to an end to the session. Thank you for the patient listening, students. Thank you. Good day. Yes.